Okay, we'll give this a go. See if this works. Waiting for somebody to come on just to make sure that everything's working. I think my little green dots are lighting up to say that everything's working. For some reason, I had it on a schedule for 3 o'clock to come on automatically, and I started a little bit early and there was no sound. So like you do with the nuclear submarine, switch it off and reboot it and everything else should work. So, okay, we've got somebody else. Is it a thumbs up? Can you hear me now? Leave a comment in the chat and we'll see if it works. So is the volume okay? Hope so. Live chats. Morning, Les. Looking great, Les. Thank you very much. Mr. Mitch, as always, always a pleasure to have you on. So can you hear everything working? The volume's okay? Everything? Give it a thumbs up if it's working. Because I can't hear. All good. That's what I like to hear. Because funny enough, I can't hear it on my little iPad for some reason. Okay, as long as it's all good, I'll carry on with that. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Great to see you working fine. Okay, great. But retired and living the dream, and retired and living the dream. Got me coffee. Here we go. Oh, lovely. I like me coffees. I do like me coffees. So I'm stocked up today. I've got me drinks already in a little freezer compartment to keep them nice and cold. Started off with a coffee. And are we at 3 o'clock? Oh, bang on 3 o'clock now, so everybody should be coming in. So, we got 14 in the house already with 3 thumbs up. Thanks very much for people for tuning in and logging in. And for those people who want to ask questions, I can read it in the questions onto the right-hand side of my screen here. So if you want to ask a question, put a capital Q at the beginning of your question or comment, and then I'll know it's a question. And I apologize if I miss a couple of questions because I'm answering somebody else's questions, but be persistent, put a Q, and I'll see them that it's a question. So you can ask anything and anything you want with regard to living here in Thailand. I can answer 99% of the questions. I was talking to a guy this morning for an hour, and he was asking all sorts of questions. And I said to him, listen, don't be shy. Ask wherever you want. You're a guy talking to another guy. So ask wherever you want, and I'll tell you the honest truth about anything and everything about living here and where to go, what to do, what to see, and how you don't get ripped off. And that's the biggest thing that I have with people talking to me over here, is that they're scared of getting ripped off. They're scared of all the horror stories that there is in Thailand with houses and Thai girls taking all your money and that. Yes, it's possible. These things do happen. But there are ways and means of avoiding all of that lot. And I can give you some points in the right direction. But at the end of the day, you are your own worst enemy sometimes with guys, because sometimes the small part of your anatomy overrules the big part of your sensible thinking. And I've seen that so many times over here. So don't think with the small part of your brain, think with the big part of the brain and look at the bigger picture. Anyway, that's a little bit digress. But as I say, ask away. I've got some pre-prepared questions that people have already asked me. So what I'll do, I'll answer some of the questions that people have already asked, and then I'll go to the chat on the side. Greetings, guys. I sent you an email on whether you are open to chatting consultants, but didn't hear back. I'm 54 and ready to get out of the US. Yes, I do a consultancy. It's $10, a massive $10. I apologize for not getting back to you. I usually answer every email that comes. Well, I do answer every email that comes in. It might have gone to me spam or me junk folder, which I haven't looked in. But yeah, I do a consultancy fee, and it's $10, and it's buy me a coffee. And I only ask for the $10 if you're happy with the results of everything, and then we just go from there. And I haven't been unsuccessful yet to answering the questions that people want. And whether the consultancy lasts for an hour or 2 hours, it's still the same price, $10. And I think I'm by far the cheapest here on YouTube for giving advice and information on a one-to-one basis, face-to-face basis through WhatsApp. And you can learn an awful lot from me. I might not know where the best and the cheapest pizzas and coffee shops are in Pattaya, but I know an awful lot more than that. So yes, I still do the consultancy for $10 for a chat, and you just buy me a coffee, and I'll send you the link to the buy me a coffee at the end of the chat. And then if you want any information, I can give you information with regard to agents. I can give you information with regard to medical insurance and things like that. So I'm a mind of information. I've lived here for 13 years, almost 13 years. So I know a thing or two about living here. I've lived in Pattaya. I lived in Pattaya and Jomtien for 2 years. So I know the score, how it works in Pattaya. And it's basically like riding a bike. Once you can learn how to ride a bike, it's the same thing in Pattaya now than it was when I first came here 13, 14 years ago now. But the prices have gone up tremendously since I was a lad, since I came first to Pattaya. Try this morning in Eston, Les. Oh, that's good. That's good. Eston, I like Eston. One of my best friends lives in Eston. But I'll tell you, I don't know whether you've actually seen my videos when I come back from the UK to Thailand. I was in the UK for 9 weeks, and 3 weeks out of the 9 weeks I was ill. And I've been back here for almost 10 months now, and I've never had another sick day in the 10 months I've been back home. And long may it last. Touch wood, it lasts forever that I don't get sick. But I think out of 9 weeks, the sun shone. We had blue skies for 5 days out of the 9 weeks. Okay, here it's a bit grey and overcast, but we are in rainy season, and it is drizzling with rain a little bit. But apart from that, it's quite nice. It's a little bit humid today. Yeah, it's a little bit humid, but I'd sooner be warm and humid than freezing cold. And October time now, it was last November that I went back to the UK, so almost a year ago now, so 11 months. Yeah, almost a year now. Wow, how time flies so quickly. Good morning from Holland. Good morning. $10 is an absolute bargain. It is. I just do it because it takes up an hour or 2 hours of my time. I used to do by email. I give lots of information out for free. I don't, but there was one guy, I sent 21 emails out to try and describe a method of, I call it the recycle method, and he just didn't get it. And then I said to him, give me $10 and I'll sit and I'll talk to you for an hour or 2 hours so you understand everything. And he said, oh, you've become an e-beggar now. After I'd sent him 21 emails trying to give him the information that he wanted, and he wouldn't pay $10, that would have saved him at least 20 to 30,000 baht per year. Anyway, so that's what I do now, because I get lots and lots of emails and questions every single day, and I try to answer every single one of them. But sometimes it's easier having face-to-face conversation, then people can take notes and ask the questions. So some things are lost in translation. So face-to-face, $10, it's an absolute bargain. Grumpy old man is buying a condo in Jomtien, a good investment to buy for my daughter. We're taking 10 to 20 years investment. Yeah, Jomtien. I like Jomtien. I think it's far enough away from the madness. It's a good location, and as long as you're on the BART bus route, it's 10 baht to get to the centre of Pattaya, which is 20 minutes away from Jomtien. Jomtien is a nice area. I like Jomtien very much. I lived there for 2 years. I lived near the bus station, Vutilay too, I think it was. And then I lived in Chateau Dale. There's an Australian bar just on the corner. It was just lovely. Opposite Pan Pizza. Went in there. The Italian food in there is lovely. Jomtiem, you won't go wrong with Jomtiem. There'll always be a market if you wanted to resell one day in Jomtiem. Jomtiem is far better than Pratnack and Naklua in my mind. But then I live in Rayong, which is an hour and a half away. But I love this location. Look at this. You know, there's me hammock there. I was there earlier on today, having a swift 40 winks. And there's me sofa. And the sunrise comes up over there. Fantastic location. I love it. Right, good. Do you know about the formalities about marrying a Thai lady? I believe there's 2 ways of doing it. There are many ways. Yes, I do know the formalities and the ways of marrying a Thai woman, and it's not easy. I'm a strong believer in trying to do everything yourself without using agents and things like that. And I asked my wife to marry me a number of years ago, and she declined. She says, "No, I'm not going to marry you. I want to be with you a bit longer than we'd been together for a year." And she said, "I want to be together at least 2 years before I even consider marrying you." And that was a sort of shock to me. Thinking, "What?" And I asked her the reason why. And she said, "Because there's so many marriages fail in Thailand with foreigners." My wife had never been married before. And she said, "There's so many failures with foreigners and Thai people." She said, "I want to make sure that when I sign the piece of paper, it's for life and it isn't just because you like me or whatever." So I waited another year, and then we got married, and I filled out all the paperwork. We did all the paperwork, and I was 100% happy with all the paperwork I filled out. We went to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, got all the paperwork ratified, translated, blah, blah, blah. It's a big, big affair getting married over here. And then we went to the registration office to get married. And the first registration office we went to, they says, "No, you can't get married. We need her parents here." And the bit that sort of the stumbling block is that we didn't have any witnesses. So in the literature that I wrote, it just said you get 2 people from the office and you give them 500 baht each and they'll be witnesses. But the 2 offices we went to wouldn't do that. They said we needed Ploy's parents there to be witnesses. But Ploy's parents live 6 hours away from there. So we went to another registration office, and they said the same thing. Except they said we needed her parents there, and then we needed a translator. So I knew what I was getting myself into. So anyway, long story short, then we went to another AMPA up on their village, and we got turned down there because the AMPA was a day off. And so we went to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, where you have to go to ratify, and there's loads of agents in there. And thankfully, one of the agents gave my wife a card. So once we're back in Karat, we rang this agent, and she said, yes. She said, "We can do all the paperwork tomorrow for 5,000 baht," because I'd already done all the other paperwork. So we went in the registration office with this agent, and 10 minutes later, we were married. So sometimes you might have to use an agent to get married because it was quite difficult to do, believe it or not. But am I happy getting married? Yes, we've been married now for a long time. I've been married now for over 5 years, and I've loved every minute of it. She's a wonderful girl. She's the salt of the earth, and I love her very much, and we have a good life together. So yes, getting married is a complex affair over here. Let's have a look. Do you know about marriage? Yeah, I heard the UK government don't increase the pensions with inflation. If someone lives in Thailand, that's crazy. How UK retirees afford to live in Thailand for decades then? Yeah, I can come on. I've got a workaround for that, funny enough. Asking money for services, not begging. Thank you very much. The information that I provide for $10 is priceless. Okay, pension wise. Now, I've done a couple of videos on pension wise because as yet, I'm not a pensioner. I've still got 3 years before I claim my UK pension. And I did look into this because I do realise that if you state that you're living in Thailand full time, then your pension doesn't go up with inflation. And bear in mind, last year it was a 10% or 10.1% rise, and next year it looks like it's going to be 6.8 or thereabouts. So them 2 years, if you don't get your pension rise, that amounts to like 16, nearly 17% increase that you're going to lose. But there's a workaround. There's a workaround in doing this because I looked into it and I did a video about it. And you will get your pay rise if you live in a reciprocal country for 185 days. So the nearest reciprocal country is the Philippines. If you live in the Philippines for 185 days, on the day that you arrive in the Philippines, you can ring the tax office or the pensions department, and there is a telephone number on the video that I did about the workaround, and you inform them that you are living in the Philippines. Then you will get the new rise up. So if you've missed a few years, you will get all of them increases whilst you're living in the Philippines. And as long as you live in the Philippines for 185 days, once you leave the Philippines, that rise stays at the same price. So, for instance, there's a number of reciprocal countries. If you go on the website for the pensions, it'll give you a list of all the reciprocal countries. And Turkey is another reciprocal country. So, in effect, if you wanted to do a little 6 months holiday, you could live in Turkey for 3 months, and then you could live back in England for 3 months. And as long as it equates to 185 days in that financial year, you will get the pension increase rise, and it will stay at that increase rise until you move back to Thailand, and then it'll freeze again, and then you could do the same thing again later on. So this is only worth it because I did the costs analogy of it with visas, flight transport, and accommodation costs and things like that. And if it's around about a 20% rise, it's well worth it. And the government are actually going to pay you to go on the holiday to the Philippines to get the money that they owe you in the first place. So it is a workaround, and I have done a video. Have a look on my videos. I've done workarounds for many things like visas and stuff like that, because I think outside of the box. And if you think outside of the box, and everything that I recommend is legal anyway, I wouldn't do anything illegal over in this country because I love living in Thailand. Les looks great wearing it. I know, but if I don't wear it, it's blurry. It's blurry on the messages, so I don't normally wear glasses, but for reading the chat, it comes in handy. Let's look at wearing glasses. Western women can use marriage as a career. Yes, they do. Yeah. My second wife, when I met her, she had a suitcase full of clothes, and that's all she had, living in a rented room of a house. And once we got divorced, she had 2 kids. So therefore, I paid maintenance for another 12 years after that because they went on to university. And also she got the biggest part of that. Well, she got the house, you know, which I put the deposit down for and paid. So yeah. But not all Western women are the same. But as I say, some women can use that as an advancement up the chain. I'll give you a little story here of you laugh at this because the story is quite funny. When I was a firefighter in my later years, I was 45, 46-year-old, and we worked at a quiet station. The station was only 9 people on duty. And then we had a young probationer join our fire station. And I thought, and everybody said, we don't want a probationer because it means extra work. We have to do training. We have to do this and that, the other. So nobody wanted a probationer because it's all extra work. And we were all old hands anyway. Anyway, this young lad was 23-year-old. And we actually enjoyed it because it gave us something to do, and we all give them experience and things like that. And we sat around the mess table eating our evening meal one night, 8 o'clock, and this 23-year-old lad says, okay, lads, he said, I want a little bit of guidance and information if you can give me some. And he said, what it is, I'm 23. He said, I'm not asking for advice for the fire brigade thing. He said, just general life experience. And I said, I'll start with this one. I said, there's 9 of us sat around the mess table here, and 7 of us have been divorced. So I said, my bit of advice to you is, you're 23-year-old, don't bother getting married, don't bother getting a house, don't bother spending all of that money buying a house and mortgages and things like that. Wait till you're 40, 45-year-old, then look for the woman who's already been divorced and got the house from the guy who's paid the mortgage for the last 20 years. Everybody just burst out laughing. And in reality, that's the way to do it. Don't bother you saddle yourself as a guy with a mortgage. Wait until you're 40, 45-year-old, then find the woman that's already got the house because her ex-husband's already paid for it. Silly little thing, but things like that, actually, you just remember. Question, what is your take on the increase in number of British banks closing expat accounts? Good day, Les. Great advice, mate. Thank you. Yeah, it's a funny thing with the banks. Barclays Bank, who I'm with, they're at the minute closing accounts of people who actually don't live in the UK. Now, I'm registered at my sister's house for a postal address with a Barclays Bank, but I'm expecting, because they know I live in Thailand, because I send my money every month through TransferWise, and if I buy anything on my Barclays card, it's always in Thailand. So they know I live in Thailand. So I'm expecting one day they'll just turn around and say to me, listen, you don't live in this country anymore. We're going to close your account. And I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. At the end of the banks use your money to make their money. And if I transfer basically all of my money out of my account every month to Thailand, then they're not making anything off me. So I can understand, yes, it's financial, it's business. They want to use my money in the bank for their purposes. And if I don't keep any of my money in their bank, it's costing them money to actually run my account. So in some ways, I can agree with what they're saying. But it makes it difficult for anybody without a British bank account. You can get over that. You can get your retirement benefits, pensions or whatever paid directly into a Thai bank. But I think the fees cost a lot more money than it does with me, with Barclays. To send over £1,200 a month, it costs me about £7 using TransferWise. So it's a very cheap way of doing it. But if I did it from my pensions to the bank over here, I don't know how much that will cost, but it'll be a lot more than £7. So my views on the banks, they're doing it because they're making money. And if you've got no money in the banks for them, then they're not going to help you as much as they can. Do you have to get power of attorney in Thailand, as English power is not recognized in Thailand? Power of attorney for what? Yes, I've done again another video. It's okay, looking a little bit on the black side. Are you ready to die in Thailand? And this deals with all sorts of things to do with money, houses and things like that. And that's to do with are you ready to die? Because the bureaucracy over here for if somebody dies is horrendous. Because if you're married to a Thai partner, if you're not married to a Thai partner, then they have to find the next of kin. If, for instance, if you die, a quick instance, if you die and you're not married, so your wife isn't the next of kin, you're held in the hospital. So your partner can't do anything with your body until she gets a release order from the hospital. And the only way they can do that is they have to find your next of kin to give permission for you to be taken from the hospital. Then it has to be sent to the British Embassy, then it has to be translated into Thai, then it has to go to the hospital. So it's a big, big nightmare with regard to paperwork. But if you're married to a Thai national, then she becomes the next of kin. But even then, she still needs a death certificate translated into English. So you get the death certificate from the hospital, which then has to be translated into English, then has to be sent over to the British Embassy before the body is released, before they can do anything with it. So get all your ducks in order when you're living over here in Thailand. And it's the same with money, condos, houses, and things like that. If you die without doing all the paperwork, it just creates a headache. Now, what I've done, this is my own personal experience. What I've done is because I've got life insurance in England. I've also got my pension that my wife gets for as long as she lives from England. So when I die, I've pre-filled in most of the forms. And I've actually gone through the forms with her. So I've translated it in English and Thai for her. So we've gone through all the questions. So she's wrote everything down in Thai. So she understands that because I'm not there to ask the questions, because I'm dead, curl my toes up. So therefore, we've gone through all the paperwork. So she understands it. And there's a Thai copy of everything in the bundle of paperwork. And that is the way to do it, because once you're gone, you're gone. There's no more questions. And for one, the biggest thing is that there's called what's the document in? A certificate of being alive, or a certificate of anything. So I said, if my fire brigade pension stops, don't just think, oh, that's it, it stopped, because, Les said it's going to be for life, but they've stopped it. I've given phone numbers and the person to talk to with regard to if it stops. They just want to make sure that the circumstances haven't changed. So it's up to you to make. But if she didn't know that beforehand, she would have just accepted it. Oh, well, it wasn't for life. It's only been for 4, 5, 6 years or whatever. So these are the important things that you need to do. Also talk about is when you're actually living in Thailand, is to get all your ducks in a row, because we're all going to die one day, and you don't want to be leaving problems for your Thai partner or girlfriend or wife to deal with once you're gone. So that was the power of attorney. That was a big answer for a power of attorney. Yes. Let's have a look. Got to get back to work on the allotment now. I'm still waiting for the beetroot. You said you were going to send me some beetroot. I love beetroot. Yeah. Have a good afternoon in the garden. Thanks for popping in. Thanks for the live. See you at the big one. Okay, thanks very much. Grumpy old man. My rent went up 30% for renewal, $1,700 for a small townhouse. Ridiculous. Crazy, isn't it? Well, if you've looked at this house that I live in now, we used to rent this house. We rented it for 5 years before we actually bought it, and we paid 12,000 baht a month for the rent of this. So 12,000 baht. What's the do the exchange in dollars and pounds and things like 250 pounds, I think it is, a month. So maybe it's about $300 a month. So that's what I'm saying. Western countries, I've done a couple of videos on the cost of living here, and they're a little bit outdated. Maybe it's a year or 2 years old, but they've had like 15,000 views on one of them and 22,000 views on one of the others. So I'll do an updated version of the cost of living over here in Thailand. Just to give you an example, I had 2 new tires fitted to my car, and it came to 2,900 baht for Dunlops, 2 Dunlops for my car, 1856515, something like that. But less than 3,000 baht for 2 new tires. You'd pay that for 1 tire in England. The cost to live over here is, my electricity bill is less than 900 baht every month. crazy. I still haven't even got to the questions yet. We're 30 minutes into it almost. I made a Thai will. Will my partner still have the problem of the next of kin? I haven't made a Thai will because my wife is the next of kin, so I don't want to leave anything to anybody else. So my wife is going to get anything and everything anyway. So for me, I've no need to be able to make a Thai will. But if you want to leave it to various people, then do it. Yeah, then make a will. Yeah. I thought you were able to combine money in the bank with money sent, but accidentally went below the 800,000, 5 days and 3 months. Ended up having to go through allowed. Yeah. No, the combination method. There used to be a combination method, but that's been stopped now. It's either 800 in the bank or 65,000 baht a month, and it has to be every month. There was an occasion before I went on to my marriage visa. I've been on my marriage visa now for 5 years, but there was one period where I got paid twice in December, and on paper it looked as if I didn't get paid in the January because the fight began January's payments in December. So the immigration didn't like that at all. She bent the rules a little bit and helped me out. But no, they like to see every calendar month, not two payments or a combination method. It's either or. So either 800,000 in the bank, and you're not allowed to go below 400,000, and then you have to put the 800,000 back up to 800,000 2 months before the application again, and 3 months afterwards. So that's caught a few people out. An American guy that spoke to immigration went 20 baht under the 800,000, and he got denied his visa as well for 20 baht. He lent his son some money, and his son drew it out, and he went 20 baht under the 800,000 in that 3 month period, and he put more than the 800,000 baht back. So on the same day, so he went 7,980 baht, something like that, and he topped it up, so he was back over the 800. But because he went under, they said no, 20 baht. He was fuming. But this is Thailand. Paperwork. Right, let's have a look. Let's add the fees. I have a challenge. US, but they're cracking down. I don't know what that is. I've made a Thai will. Are the fees less than you send from your bank to Wise versus using Wise to request pull money from your bank account? My pension gets paid into Barclays, and I order the money through Wise from Thailand, and I do a manual transfer from my Barclays bank account to Wise, and there's no fees for the transfer from Barclays to Wise, and the only fees that I get charged are the fees that the Wise charge me for sending over to the Thai bank, which is £7 or £8 a month, which is very, very reasonable, and it's the cheapest way I've found of being able to do that. So no, that's the way I do it. Barclays into Wise send it over to me in Thailand every month. So no problem. Hi, Ricky. In Thailand, July. Hello, there's a fellow YouTuber, Ricky in Isan. Young wife passed away, left with 2 twins, take care of. Was wondering if my wife passed away before me, would I be able to continue to live in our house? Yeah, I've sent Ricky a message, and I followed Ricky because he's a nice guy, nice young guy. And it's nice to see young guys living in Thailand as well, trying to make a go of it. My heart went out for him. Poor lad with 2 11-week, 12-week-old babies now. You know, life is going to become much, much more difficult for him now with regard to that. If your wife passed away, then you're not allowed to carry on with your marriage visa. You would have to then revert back to back to a retirement visa. But with Ricky, if you've got children, then you can become, there's another visa that you can get. I forget exactly the proper name for it, but because you're responsible for children, then you can get that visa, which allows you also to stay here on a yearly basis. A dependency visa, I think it's called, with regard to children, and he can do it that way. But I believe with Ricky, I mean, his wife made a lot of money selling makeup and beauty products and things like that, and obviously selling stuff from the shop. Now, Ricky isn't allowed to sell anything from the shop because it's classed as working. He's not allowed to sell anything online because that's classed as working. And technically, according to some legal gadgets over here, even YouTube is technically working. So the poor Ricky is in for a hard time, and I'm sure he'll survive, but it's not going to be easy for him. So yes, in answer to your question, you would be given, I think, 6 months to a year to change your visa, your visa status. But yeah, that's what you'd have to do. You'd have to change it from a marriage visa to a retirement visa. What do you mean? I don't know that. Thanks, Les. That explains it. Was applying for a marriage visa, but they still insisted that 800k was in the bank for the 2 months. No, it's only 400,000. You only need 400,000 in the bank for 2 months before application, and I believe there is. Whereas the 800,000, you need it for 3 months afterwards. With the 400,000, after you get your visa, you can use that money. You don't need to have that in the bank until 2 months before reapplication again. So the marriage visa, though it's a lot more difficult to get, and there's an awful lot of paperwork every year, but for me, it's worth it because then you only either have 400,000 in the bank all the time or show an income of 40,000 a month. Now, I don't have the 400,000 in the bank every month, so I don't have the 400,000 in the bank all the time. I use the income method. So I mean, I always draw 50 to 60,000 baht every month anyway. So that more than covers the 40,000 that they need to see every month. So there are many ways to skin a cat. It's just choosing the way that you want to do it. Thanks, Les, for your help during the week with my 90-day online. Top man, let's have a beer when you visit. Always up for a beer or a coffee if anybody passes by or anybody near. Yeah, the 90 days. The 90 days. Again, I just used to think it was quite simple, but because I've done it that many times, it sort of becomes simple. But to the guy that I helped out this week, it's not that simple. You know, there's a number of hurdles that you've got to jump through. So he suggested that I make a video, and I'm going to make a video on the 90-day step-by-step guide on how to fill in the 90 days and what paperwork you require and what you'll get with regard to paperwork back from the immigration office. But the 90-day online is quite easy. Once you know how it's done, it's like everything else. Once you know how it's done, it's easy. But to do it in the first place, if you don't know what you're doing, then it can be quite difficult. So I'm going to do a video on 90-day reporting online. And once you've done it once or twice online, it's dead easy. My immigration office is 45 minutes drive from where I live, and 45 minutes. So an hour and a half round trip for less than 30 seconds it takes. Once you get your ticket, invariably you buzz straight away to go and do your 90-day. And then they look at it 30 seconds to a minute and you walk out the office. So an hour and a half for a minute in the immigration office. So online is the way to go. And you can do it online, and it's not difficult at all. So, yeah, I shall do the I shall do that. Let's have a look. Yeah, so I'd question that. There's no need to have the 800,000 baht in the bank. Right, I'm on a retirement visa. I've just done 6 days holiday around Thailand, staying at hotels, now returned to my home. Do I have to submit another TM30 with my home address? Technically, yes. But if that's your registered address to say that that's where you're living, no, you don't. Because it's such a carry on to do TM30s all the time. Now, the hotels are duty bound. They have to inform immigration that that's what you do. I mean, this is my address here, and we go on holiday all the time, and I've never, ever, ever informed the immigration that we've actually come back home, because for me, there's no need to do it, and I've never, ever been questioned about it. Why haven't you informed us that you're back home, things like that. It's sort of one of them things. It's unnecessary paperwork, but technically, yes, you should do, but reality, it doesn't matter. I would just say nothing, because if this is your main address that you come home to, you're going to come home back to that one day anyway, and that'll be the address that's stapled into the back of your passport, so they know actually where you are. So technically yes, but theoretically no, you don't. Luckily I'm immigration office not too far away, so just walk and it's done. Yeah, great. If the immigration office is just around the corner, that's great. A yellow book with a home address, got the ID card, fantastic. I looked at getting the ID card here where we live, but we went to the local Amper's office, and it was because we don't actually own this house yet. We have to get the landlady who lives in Bangkok to come. She has to come on 2 occasions to the Amper. We have to have the head of the village, and there's a stack of paperwork like that. So I said, listen, just forget about it. I'll pay the extra 200 baht to go to the national parks as and when we do. So, but the pink ID card is good, if you've got it. So right, anyway, we're 42 minutes into it. I'm gonna answer a couple of questions that we've got that people already asked for it, and we're an hour in, almost about 42 minutes into it. Right, somebody asked me, and well, quite a few people have asked me with regard to insurance over here. Is there expats club like yours in other parts of Thailand? Yeah, there's expats club in Chiang Mai. I know that, but I don't know about. There is. I was thinking about setting one up in Rayong, but yeah, I'm retired and I don't have enough hours in the day sometimes. So to commit to doing something else like that, it's I don't really want to be committed into setting something like that up. The YouTube takes a bit of me time up. My own personal work that I do here takes a bit of time. So yeah, I take my hat off to those people who run the expats clubs and things like that. So anyway, getting back onto medical insurance, there's a lot of people are worried and concerned about medical insurance and not being insured, self-insurance and things like that. Now, I've got basic medical insurance with Pacific Cross. And for those people who want any more information with regard to Pacific Cross, just send me an email. I'll put my email address on there. 58 at yahoo.com. Just send me an email with regard to Pacific Cross, and I'll send you the details that I've got and the people that you can talk to. And I pay just short of 25,000 baht a year for 700,000 bahts worth of cover. Now, a lot of people have said to me, "Oh, that's not worth it. That's not worth, you're not going to get much treatment for that." But in reality, I can find 25,000 baht every year, but I couldn't find 700,000 baht if I needed to go to the hospital. So for me, you still get quite a lot of treatment for 700,000 baht. In myself, I'm quite healthy. I don't take any tablets, medication, or anything else like that. And so for those people who say you should have 3 or 4 million bahts worth of cover, have you ever thought that the agent who sells you 3 or 4 million bahts worth of cover gets a bigger commission because you're taking 3 or 4 million bahts worth of cover? So it's a sticking plaster. 700,000 baht will get me fixed up so I can, if I need to, get on a plane and go back to the UK for treatment. Now, if I got anything terminal, that's my final resting place there. That place there and this hammock here. This is my final resting place. If I get anything terminal, I wouldn't go back to England to spend another 6 months or 12 months living with the terminal illness that's going to kill me one day anyway. I've made my mind up. Thailand is my final resting place. And I'll stay here. I'll stay here. And as long as I can get the painkillers and the medication to stop anything that I've got from hurting me, I'll die here. So that I don't need 3 or 4 million bahts worth of cover. I'm happy with the cover that I've got. And there's other things those people like can do. From 65 to 70, it's the insurance goes quite high, really. So there's ways of means of getting around that by self-insuring. If you're on a retirement visa and you have your 800,000 baht in the bank, that's your emergency medical treatment money. So it actually serves two purposes. It gets you your visa trouble-free every year, and it's there for emergency backup. So if you need any treatment, 800,000 actually gets you a lot of treatment. Now, I would suggest don't go to the Bangkok hospital because that's the most expensive place to get your treatment. Go to the public hospital. A doctor is a doctor when all's said and done. And what happens is that some people will get treated by the same doctor that treats them in the Bangkok Rayong hospital. So public hospitals, a doctor is a doctor in my mind. So going on from that, if you can't afford to pay the money with regard to medical costs, then you can actually go and get a full body checkup. So, for instance, if you did this every couple of years or something, it's going to give you some early warning signs of anything that's going to go on. It's very rarely that something happens, and you get it within a week or 2 weeks, and then that's it. There's always early warning signs for the majority of things in life. Now, I'm going to give you some facts and figures here and some prices, so you can draw your own conclusions of whether actually it's worth it or not. Now, the Bumrungrad, is that the right pronoun? Bumrungrad Hospital. If you want a full, and I mean full, physical, and treatments and blood tests and x-rays and ultrasounds and stuff like that, it can, for between 55 and 69-year-olds, and the whole procedure is 6 to 8 hours. Now that costs at the maximum 43,000 baht, and that's at 6 to 8 hour checks with the doctors and all your blood tests and things like that. And if you want a cheaper version of that, between 3 or 4 hours, and it's classed as an executive checkup, that could be 26,000. And but the Bangkok hospital at the minute have got a couple of special offers on, and it's a 4 or 5 hour supreme checkup package, and it sort of offers the same thing as a Bumrungrad hospital for 17,800, and that you get a MR or ultrasound scan of your abdomen, and that checks your heart, your kidneys, your liver, and things like that, and they can see if anything is going untoward with regard to treatments and things like that. It's like when I had a suspected heart attack and I got took to the hospital, they did a CT scan, and that's how they found out I had emphysema, and I had a small cyst on my liver. And they said, you know, the chances of your cyst on the liver being anything benign we're 90% sure it's nothing. It's just a cyst. So I said, well, okay, there's nothing you can do about it anyway. So just leave it at that. So sometimes having these scans can be preventative with regard to illnesses and things like that, because you have early advance of notice. Then you can go back to your home country and go through the system and get treatment if you want. But for those people who can't afford maybe the 40, 50, 60,000 baht worth of insurance for a year, by going and having one of these yearly checkups, do it every 2 years. Then that's half the price what you're going to be paid for the insurance, you know, to cover anything that goes wrong. It's preventative more than anything else. And you get the blood test, you get the inspection with the doctor, and it's far cheaper than what you could do that in America or in the UK. Trying to get a test like that in the UK, well, yeah, there's a 7 million people waiting list to get normal treatment done in the UK. So that's just a quick way to the person who asked the question with regard to medical insurance here in Thailand. There are other ways and means of doing it. So look at all the options. Bumrungrad Hospital do various full bodies, as do the Bangkok Hospital. So give them a try, give them a look at, have a look at all your options that you've got. Send me an email if you want, and I'll send you the link to the people who deal with Pacific Cross. And if you've got any illnesses or illnesses that you already have, they won't be covered. But you'll be able to speak to a person who will tell you exactly what's covered and what isn't covered, pre-existing conditions, how much it's going to cost you, blah, blah, blah. Them are the people who can tell you how much it's going to cost. I can just give you a general guidance as how much it's going to cost, but the people who actually insure you, they'll give you exactly how much it's going to cost and what pre-existing conditions are covered and aren't covered. So that's the question with regard to medical insurance. Let's have a look. There are 2 expats club in Pattaya. I belong to the Pattaya City Expats Club, and they meet weekly on a Wednesday at the Holiday Inn. Yeah, I did a couple of sessions at the Expats Club 10 years or so ago. I give 2. I was the speaker on 2 occasions at the Expats Club. It's very interesting, the Expats Club. You meet lots of nice people there. And it's networking as well. You get to talk to other people, and it's brilliant. If I was actually closer to Pattaya, I'd go to the Expats Club because it was good. Les, have you ever purchased accident insurance for 5,000 baht at a bank? If so, is it worthwhile? I believe I have, because I'm with the Bangkok bank. They take so much out of my bank account every year, and I think that's about 500 or 600 baht. And I do believe that's for 5,000 bahts worth of accident insurance. Yes. My wife has got accident insurance out for herself and her son, and that's 1,700 baht a year she pays through an insurance agent. But that's for more than a 5,000 baht accident insurance. It covers many things, not just motorbike accident, things like that. So yeah, there is life insurance and accident insurance, but you could be insured up to everything. But touch wood, you're careful and you don't have an accident. But an accident is an accident, isn't it? Who knows? I seen that the thing that annoyed me, someone who pays agency to put the money in the same day and gets visa, no problems. Yeah, went below for 6 days and got refused. Yeah. So sometimes doing it the legal route can be more difficult than using an agent. Agents have their ways, and they wave their magic wand, and that's why you pay the agency fees. And again, I've had the same, because I like being legal. I like doing everything legal myself, but sometimes it can be frustrating because you see other people actually get the visas and with no fuss and carry on, they just pay it. And the amount of people who seem to think that agents are illegal, I'd go against that. They're not illegal. A lot of them advertise on various Facebooks. They have offices So the immigration officers know where they are. So if they were illegal, why have they got big offices and advertising? It's a way of doing business. It's the way it is. Thailand is the way it is. Thailand is a country that runs on brown envelopes. And that's what you got to get your head around whilst living in Thailand. Is brown envelopes are everywhere. Agents are the way to go for an easy life, I think. Yeah, agents can do a lot of good things. But also, there are, I think, over 200 people that disagree with you in Phuket. Over 200 people got ripped off with a visa agent who took the money and never got the visas. It's funny how sometimes the news doesn't report on what happened to them 200 people with regard to using a visa agent and what happened with them. If anybody's on the chat here that knows exactly what happened in Phuket with them 200 people who didn't get the visas and the visa agent ran away with the money, I've not heard anything from anybody. But it'd be interesting to find out. It'd be interesting to know. I would say if you're going to use a visa agent that's got plenty of checkable facts and other people that have used them, and go by other people's recommendations. Yeah, I'll say no more on that one. Can be expensive, running the risk that they don't decide to suddenly clamp down on them. Seems like as long as they get their cut, nothing is said. Now, for 10 years that I've been here, visa agents are going to be wiped out. Visa agents are going to be no more. Visa agents have seen the last days. There are more visa agents now than there was 10 years ago. Visa agents are a vital part of living here in Thailand. They help smooth the wheels and everything gets done in a way that gets done. So visa agents, they'll never, ever be out of business. Jennifer, banks think that you have to get something from the visa office that lets you leave the country. I don't know what that is. But I do various workarounds so you can actually don't need a visa agent. You can do it all yourself, even if you don't. I mean, people use a visa agent because they don't meet the qualifications, either the 65 or the 800, and they use a visa agent. Now, you can do all of that like yourself, where you don't need a visa. There's a workaround for doing that. And it is probably more legal than using a visa agent. Not that using a visa agent is illegal, but there are other methods that you can do it, and you don't have to pay the legal fees for the visa agents to do it. It's actually a much cheaper way of doing it, and you don't run the risk of being stopped at immigration, because what the fear is of a lot of people with using a visa agent is that if you go into the immigration only 90 days, the immigration officer can actually say to you, the next time you come, I want to see your bank book to make sure your 800,000 baht is in the bank. And so the visa agents can say to you, well, listen, we'll do you 90 days for you, but we'll charge you a little bit more money for doing it. So you don't get that embarrassment of the immigration officer asking to see your 800,000 baht in the bank. So doing it on one of the other ways that I suggest, that will never ever happen to you, because you show proof every single month that you've got the 65,000 baht coming into your account. So therefore, and it's not exactly free to do it, but there are workarounds that you can do it. So it's probably less than half what it would cost for a visa agent to do it. But there are ways of thinking outside of the box to be able to do that. Hi Les, I'm coming over to Thailand for a 1 month at Christmas. I hope we can meet up and you can buy me some food and drink, because I'm poor. I'm on benefits recommendations. Benefits. Yeah. Benefits will pay you to come over here. That's for sure. P.S. Don't forget your photos and paperwork for the marriage fee. Oh, yeah. The photographs, the paperwork, the witnesses. There's plenty of paperwork to do. I first went to Thailand in 1998, and there were visa agents even back then, yeah, and they'll never, ever be out of favour. Yeah, re-entry visa. Now, some people have fallen foul of that law as well, the re-entry visa. If you come here and you get your retirement visa, now there's a re-entry visa that you can get, so you can leave the country and come back once with a re-entry visa. Or there's a multiple re-entry where you can leave the country as many times as you want. Now, a re-entry visa is 1,000 baht to get that, and that allows you to maintain your status of having your retirement visa. And a multi-entry visa is 4,000 baht, so you can go in and out. So it's only worth getting the multi-re-entry if you're going to leave the country more than 4 times. Otherwise, you just pay 1,000 baht and get your single re-entry visa. So some people get a multi-re-entry visa for 4,000 baht and only leave the country maybe once or twice. So therefore, they're actually losing another couple of thousand baht. And it's easy to get the re-entry visa. You can go to the immigration and get it. It takes all of 10 minutes. You can even get your re-entry visa at the airport. If you forgot to do it, you can even get it at the airport. But don't forget, you do need a re-entry visa if you're going to leave the country on a retirement visa, or a marriage visa, or any other type of visa. You need a re-entry visa. Good point. It's easy to do a 90-day reporting TM47 in 10 minutes online. I've done this every 3 months for nearly 2 years, and don't waste your time going to the local immigration office. Yes, but there'll have been a time that you've started your online reporting and you didn't really know what to do. As this gentleman that I helped the other day, first time for everything. Sometimes you don't know exactly what to do unless people point you in the right direction. But I agree, less than 10 minutes work to do your online 90 days. But even so, that can go wrong, as it did with me, because I did my 90-day online and my 90-day online was rejected. It says rejected. So therefore, they sent an explanation as to why it was rejected. And for some reason, what happened with my marriage visa, when we reported at the immigration office, they asked to see my 90-day piece of paper. But because I didn't have it with me, she looked on the computer. Now then, she printed out another 90-day visa or 90-day report, which was on a different day, but she never gave me that piece of paper. So when I applied for my 90-day renewal, they said I was too early. But they give me the date that I had to report, and it was another 18 days afterwards. So all I did is do another online request like 7 or 8 days later, and it got accepted again. So that's from even online can come up with various problems. But I'm going to do a step-by-step video for somebody to go through it. And once you go through it, it's easy. Once you've done it twice, it's very, very easy. What food items from England can you not do without? Nothing. I love the Thai food over here. There is nothing that I miss from England that I can't get over here if I really, really want it. HP brown sauce. I like HP brown sauce with me bacon sandwiches, but HP brown sauce is very, very expensive over here. So I can live without it. So there's no, I love Thai food. So therefore I can say there's nothing really I miss. If you lived in the Pattaya area, you can get anything and everything from all around the world. Any food that you like, you can get in Pattaya. What's your understanding on new tax rule from the 1st of January? When it comes in Thailand, we'll get taxed. I'm a UK retired, live in Thailand, sent to the UK, Thailand, to Thai wife's account. Will it be taxed? There's a lot of scaremongering going on at the minute with this, with a tax type of thing. I believe 80% of the people that live here are going to be okay with it. With pensions, we have tax treaties. Every country has a tax treaty with Thailand. So therefore, I would say it's only those people that are earning money, apart from pensions, they're going to be taxed. It's a big, big conundrum at the minute with regard to tax. But as a retiree, looking at all the things I've read, all the other people that have done blogs on it, and because I've looked into this as well, because I've lived here for a lot of time, and I'm thinking, well, I can't afford to pay another 15% tax on my income over here. And looking into it, I'm okay, and I would say a majority of retirees are okay. If you're just on a pension and you're already paying tax in your home country, I wouldn't even worry about it. But then worry about that on the 1st of January and let them come and try and take the tax from you. And it's never going to happen. As far as trying to dissuade people or frighten people away from that, that's a massive, massive put off for people wanting to come to live in Thailand. And when all said and done, Thailand wants our money. Thailand wants the expats to live here. Thailand wants people to retire here and spend money and invest in here. Taxing them isn't the right way to do it. So I think it's dead in the water before it even starts. So I wouldn't even worry about it. I read different things that it only applies to that Thais. Some say it applies to everyone. Some, there's a plethora of information about it. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Tax, don't worry about it at all. With the new government, let's hope things improve with regard to visas, 90-day report, and TM30s. Hopefully, they're gonna do big and better things. They're on about increasing where you get a 30-day on arrival. They're on about upping that to 90 days. They're going to alter the Chinese and the Russians with regard to they only get 2 weeks, but now they're going to get 30 days, things like that. There are changes. There are certainly changes, as there is every year with everything. There's going to be changes for everything. So we've got 72 people in the house. Welcome to all the 72 people. And 27 thumbs up. Can I have a few more thumbs up? Because it all helps the algorithm and YouTube to be able to. Everybody keeps asking that, don't they, for extra thumbs up and things like that. It does. The algorithm that works on YouTube is very funny, and I've looked all into it. And it's all to do with engagement, with the communications and stuff like this. Everything helps. Oh, thank you very much for all the thumbs up. It all helps. And as I say, with my channel, there are other channels that have Patreons, special members sites and things like that. And I'll never, ever charge people to watch my content at all. You get to see all my videos, no special videos. Every video is a viewable video. You don't have to pay extra to watch any of my videos. All the information that I give, it's free. I do a consultation for $10, and you only pay the $10 if you get the information that you require. But I'm a mind of information. Now, there's some other YouTubers charge $45 for a 30-minute consultation with them, and they tell you the same information that I'll give you for $10. But if that's the way you want to go, you buy me a cup of coffee and things like that. There are no Patreon prices. There's no membership prices. Everything that you see, what you see is what you get. I'm as honest as the day is long. I never give any BS, and what you see is what you get. So I hope everybody's happy with that. And thank you very much for the extra thumbs up. We've got 43 thumbs up now. Thanks very much for them. Okay, let's have a look. Can you just show your bank statement to prove that? Yeah. Don't. I wouldn't even worry about the tax. Just wait until it comes out in January. 42 weeks for an MRI now. Most wait 8 months for the results, 60 days for a written explanation. And I did that MRI scan. Hang on, let's have a look. MRI scan. Yeah. If you want a full body MRI scan, there are various people in Bangkok that will do it for 45,000 baht. And that's a full body MRI scan. And it takes 3 days. You have to book it 3 days in advance. So 45,000 baht, which is about £1,000. And you get your full body MRI scan and a doctor that will explain everything to you with the results of the MRI scan. So that's a full body MRI scan. So that's what I'm saying. You know, if you're prepared to pay, how much would you pay for a private consultation and get an MRI scan in the UK? A lot more than 45,000 baht, I'm sure you. I had rheumatoid arthritis, diagnosed 10 years ago, and I was in so much pain. So what I did, I went to see a private doctor in the UK, and that cost me £1,000 to go and see a private doctor to tell me, yes, I had rheumatoid arthritis. And he gave me the treatment, and I've got to say, for 10 years, I've been in remission. So I'm happy about that. Blah, blah, blah. Let's have a look. Yeah, I believe it's more to close the loophole which allowed income earned outside to be kept in tax. Yeah, loopholes. That's what I'm saying. Normal retired people and normal retirement pensions. I mean, technically, there's a legal guy on here who does legal videos, and he blows his own trumpet, and he's saying again about the YouTubers being taxable. Now I'll stick my hand up and say, yes, please let me pay the tax. Please let me work legal. Please let me do it legally, because I do everything legal that I can in Thailand. But the same guy was going to charge me 5,390 baht just to talk about it. So I went to see another lawyer, and he said, yeah, you can set your own company up, Les, to be YouTube, to work legally. But he said, you're going to have to employ 4 Thai people. And I said, well, I'm not really going to use, I can't afford to employ 4 Thai people. I said, you know, I make next to nothing myself on YouTube. I said, well, you don't actually employ them. He said, you pay their national insurance contributions or whatever it was for 4 Thai people. So I said, but they're not working for me. Yeah, that's a bit of a grey area. So I said, it's another grey area then. So technically, I'm lying, because I'm saying I'm employing 4 Thai people, and actually I'm not. So I said, then they're lying because they're saying they're working for me with their ID cards, blah, 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 blah. So I says, show me a way that I can do it legally on my own, or in joint with my Thai wife. He said, no, there isn't. You're going to have to employ 4 Thai people. So show me a legal way of doing it. So I'm just working by myself as a sole trader, sole worker, wherever, and I'll go legal. But there isn't. But by doing it technically, as the lawyer says I should do it, I have to employ 4 Thai people. 4 Thai people for running my one-man band YouTube organization, which will be taxable. And I don't mind paying me tax on $100 a month. That's all I make on YouTube. So take off all my fees that I pay for the licensing of the music, for my subscription, for my editing software, blah, blah, blah. I probably come out with $50 a month. And I'll gladly pay me tax on $50 a month if I can do it legally. But that's what that's the persons that they're going on about people who are earning money inside of Thailand. So as a normal retiree, I wouldn't even worry about it. Bill Simpson, hello Les, how are you doing? Absolutely great, Bill, thanks very much. Good morning from Norway. Good morning, Norway. it'll be starting to get a little bit chilly in Norway now, I would suggest, because we're into October. I unsub from any channels that try to guide you to their membership channel. Yeah. Good luck to them. You know, if people want to pay money for extra content, what are you getting the extra content? And I have no idea, because I also won't pay to watch, you know, some people's special YouTube videos. What's special about the YouTube video? I don't know, because I wouldn't pay. Ian Chapman, hi Les, you looking good. Thanks very much, Ian. Looking good and feeling good. Thanks very much. What is the most profitable way to transfer money from pension account to spending account in Thailand? Wise, TransferWise it used to be called, but it's Wise. That's the cheapest way. I've been doing that now for 10, 11 years through TransferWise. And to send £1,200 from your bank, I'll use the example, from my UK bank to TransferWise, the transfer is free. And then Wise charged me £6, £6 to £7 for sending £1,200 over to here in Thailand. So as far as fees are concerned, that's very, very cheap to send that amount of money over to Thailand. Obviously, the more money you send over, the more fees you pay. So that's very, very reasonable, because if I use my ATM card, say Barclays Bank ATM card, the ATM charges me 220 baht, I think it is, which is about £5 to draw a sum of money out of the ATM, and then I get charged a conversion fee with Barclays card, and so it works out quite expensive. So if you're living here long term, put your ducks in a row, get a bank open, transfer your money over to Thailand, and then use your ATM. And it costs you, if your bank is opened up in Pattaya and you're using it in the same location, same province, it's free to actually withdraw your money. But my bank account was opened up in Pattaya, but I take the money out here in Rayong, and it cost me 30 baht to take the money out of my bank account, even though it's the same Bangkok bank as it is throughout the whole country. Because I'm not in the same province that I opened my bank account, it cost me 30 baht. But paying other things by the app is free. So I transfer money over to my wife, transfer money over to the landlady, and all that lot's free. Let's have a look. Do you think it's re-entry visas? They're really just a re-entry permit. If you forget to get a re-entry permit for leaving Thailand, then you will return a retirement visa. Well, yeah, if you forget and you leave Thailand without a re-entry permit, and they won't tell you, immigration, you haven't got a re-entry permit, they'll just stamp you and away you go. Now, somebody did that they're on a cruise, and they just had a re-entry permit. And the cruise went to Malaysia, Singapore, and it did a stop at Koh Samui as well. The people didn't get off at Koh Samui because they've been to Koh Samui so many times. So they actually stayed on board the ship. And because they stamped all the passports to say that they come into Koh Samui, when they got back, their re-entry visa had been used, so therefore they'd lost their visa, their retirement visa. So they had to go through the whole process again, because the cruise liner just stamped everybody's passport, even though they said we're not getting off in Koh Samui. We stayed on board the ship, but they still had to go through the process again. So yeah, your re-entry visa, re-entry permit is very, very important. Don't forget about it. Let's have a look, see what else. Hi Les, would you employ an agent to sort out a retirement visa when I move full-time next summer? I don't have a Thai bank account but do have the 800k, so wouldn't need a loan. Opening a bank account is very difficult now. So you're going to need an agent to open up a bank account. That's about 4,500 baht to get an agent to open up a bank account for you. Now, an agent will also get you the visa for a reduced price. If you've got the 800,000 baht to put into a bank account, then he doesn't have to pay the person who's going to put the 800,000. So you still can use an agent by having your own money in your account. But my method, what I would say to do is come over here on a tourist visa, then you can extend it by 30 days, and you can pay a agent to open up a bank account. But you need 30 days on your visa to be able to open up a bank account, and that's 4,500 baht. Then once you open up the bank account, you put your 800,000 baht, and that has to be in there for 2 months. So if you're quick off the mark on your first 1 or 2 days that you're actually in Thailand, you open up a bank account, stick the 800,000 baht in, then by the time you extend your 30 days, so you have your 30 days tourist visa, then you extend another 30 days through immigration, that gives you your 2 months that have to season your money, your 800,000 baht, so then you can apply for your own visa by using the 800,000 baht method. So yeah, that's the way to do it. And then you don't pay any visa agents to be able to do that for you. So no, I wouldn't employ an agent. If you've got the 800,000 baht, you can do it yourself. It just means a lot of legwork very, very quickly to be able to do it. But use an agent to get your bank account opened, because they'll do it in the same day, as long as you've got 30 days on your visa. Well, it's actually 28 days. So you normally get a 30-day entry visa. So do it within the first 2 days. Otherwise, then you would have to do a border run to get you another 15 days to do all of that lot in the first place. So do your research, do your preparation. So on the first or second day of actually coming into Thailand, you get an agent to open up a bank account for you. That's where agents come in. You know, they can bypass all of that situation. So sometimes I suggest to use a visa agent for your first year, then you're already prepared to do your visa the following year, because then you've got your 800,000 baht in the bank. So sometimes that's worth not to do all the running around, get them to do it for you. Question: I'm Udon right now. Would you recommend a visit to Laos whilst I'm up here, and if so, where? I've never been to Laos. Never been to Laos. Never been to Cambodia. It was on my bucket list to go, but I actually never got there. But I've been to Vietnam, and I would suggest anybody to go to Vietnam. Vietnam is stunningly beautiful. And I did a round the world trip for 2 years. And I've got to say, Sapa in the north of Vietnam, for me personally, is one of the most jaw-droppingly beautiful, stunningly beautiful places in the world. Sapa in northern Thailand. Google it and have a look. It is stunningly beautiful. The people are very friendly. The atmosphere, the just sheer beauty of the place, for me, exceeded many places that I've been around the world. I've been to Hawaii, I've been to the Grand Canyon, I've been all over, stuff like that. For 2 years I've traveled and I've seen some beautiful places, but for me, Sapa is the #1 place that I would suggest anybody to go to in Vietnam. That's my own view on it, but Sapa, stunningly beautiful, Vietnam. Surely you don't earn enough to pay tax. What's the personal allowance there? I've no idea. I don't know. I've heard something like 100,000 baht, and then you start paying your taxes and things like that. 100,000 baht a year. which is only just over £2,000 a year, isn't it? And $100 a month that I make from this, what's that, $1,200? So still well under the, if you're a Thai person, to pay tax. But I'm all for it. If somebody says to me, this is the way to do it, that you don't have to have a grey area where you're supposed to employ 4 Thai people, but you actually don't employ 4 Thai people. If you're going to do it, make the rules simple. So, digital nomads work on their own. They don't employ 4 Thai people. So have a visa for digital nomads, and I'll happily pay the bills and pay the taxes that is due and do it that way. I've got no problems with doing that. Never have done, never will do. But when people say, oh, well, yeah, you have to employ 4 Thai people, technically they don't work for you, but you pay their insurance, it's another grey area. Let's do away with the grey areas. Get something set in stone that ordinary vloggers and YouTubers can do. Then there's no worries, but that's my own personal feeling. Thank you, Les, for all your valuable info. I hope to meet you one day. Thank you very much, Colin. I'll meet anybody. I talk to many people. Usually I'll meet somebody at least once or twice a week. But it's interesting. I've talked to people all over the world. And my advice is, you take it or leave it. I don't give any BS as far as advice is concerned. And I hope that all the advice that I give is helpful to those who want the advice. My suggestion is to listen to all of the advice that everybody has to say in Thailand, draw your own conclusions and follow your own path with regard to, living here in Thailand. There's the bar stool talk, and then there's my talk, because I'm not a bar person. And the difference is immeasurable with regard to the information you'll get of some bar stool guy in Pattaya compared to somebody living in the rural location that like I do in Rayong. Horses for courses. If you want the exciting life of Pattaya, then go and live. It's like Pinocchio land. There's a price to pay in Pattaya. Does anybody use MoneyGram to transfer money from their home country? No. US to transfer 1,000 to a Thai bank account takes 7 to 8. Using Wise, it's there in seconds. And if it's not there in seconds, it's there within a day. So I've found many other places and talked to many people with different methods of doing it. TransferWise has always come the easiest way. And for those people who want to send money back to the home country, TransferWise don't do that. But D-Money from Bangkok, that's the only sort of Thai bank that will actually send money back to your home country, wherever you are in the world. D-Money. And it's good rates as well. And I think it's 150 baht to send any amount of money, I think it is, back to your home country. And that's on my recycle method, where you draw money here and you send money back to your home country. My friend lives in Pattaya, cooks his own food at home, and said they only cost him 5,000 baht a month for food. Can it be true? Yep. If you're cooking your own food. Now, if there's various places you can go and you can buy food at 50 baht. And 40 to, you get noodles for 45 baht just around the corner from where I live. So they're still making a profit at 45 baht. So let's say they're making 10 baht profit on that. So that means they've cooked that for 35 baht per meal. You can go to the big shopping malls. When we go to Central Festival here in Rayong, I always have kimchi. It's a Korean dish, and it's 69 baht, or say 70 baht for a meal. So it's 70 baht, and they're, like as I say, they're making a profit on that, and it's in a beautiful restaurant. Well, it's very clean restaurant in Central Festival, where the cooks cook the food in front of you, and it's 70 baht. So if you're cooking things at home, 5,000 baht. It probably is possible, but would you really want to live like that? You know, I would say at 50 or 60 baht per meal, you can virtually eat out every day for that. So we have our food bill, and we spend 15,000 baht a month, and that's going out, eating meals, cooking meals, various different. So usually about 15,000 baht covers all our food bill for the month. Thanks for all. Les, your coffee fund is not working on your site. Oh. Okay, Colin, as I said, it is the coffee link has been working because somebody bought me a coffee this morning. Maybe I put the wrong link on it, but yeah, somebody bought me a coffee this morning because I had a live, not a live stream, I had a face-to-face chat this morning. Somebody bought me a coffee this morning. Shirley, thanks for all your info. As a single woman hoping to live in Thailand, the whole process fills me with dread, but I'm determined to give it a go next year. I will keep watching and listening. Shirley, have you talked to Kelly Port or whatever? Expat retired abroad. Expat retirement. I forget her YouTube channel, but have a look at Kelly's because she's actually making the move from America, from San Francisco, and she's actually on the ship now coming from America over to Japan, then from Japan over to Thailand. She's bit the bullet and she's moving full everything over to here in Thailand. And she's a good lady to have a chat with because she's doing it. She's actually living it. She's got her own YouTube channel now. When I first met her over here a month ago, she had 100 and odd subscribers, and now she's got over 1,000. And many people are asking the same questions with regard to moving over to Thailand. And she's a 67-year-old lady. She won't mind me telling you her age, and that's what she's doing. Send me an email, and I'll send you the link to her site. It's 58. It's 58 yahoo.com. But Kelly, as I say, she's actually renting a place now, renting a condo in Jomtien. But we spent like 2 weeks with her, showing around various places, and so we spent a lot of time with her, and she's actually made the move now to come and live here full time in Thailand. She's got lots of information. She's done fantastic amount of research with regard to living over here. So she's the woman to have a look at. But I say, send me an email and I'll send you the link. Her expat retirement, I think it's called. Right, so Wise gives you a good interest rate if you leave. Yeah, I think it's at the minute it's 4.75%. Can recommend Laos. It's just as beautiful as Vietnam. Well, again, it's on my bucket list to go to Laos and Cambodia. That's the one. Her expat retirement. She's very detailed and documenting everything it takes for her to move to the US, to Thailand. That's it. That's the one. Her expat retirement. Thanks very much. Lotto retirement strategist. First 150 person in the taxes exempt. Okay. Visa agent in Pattaya said it would cost me 38,000 baht for a retirement visa if you didn't have the 800,000. Is that a good price for or expensive? Send me an email and I'll send you the details of the guy that I send people to, and he charges about 25,000 baht. And if he opens up a bank account, he'll charge another 4,500 baht on top of that. And he does your 90-day reporting also. I say that's also based in Pattaya. So 38,000 is quite expensive, yes. That's why it's so important to figure out how. What's that now? Yeah, D in Isan, her expat retirement. That's it. That's the one. She's actually on the ship now, coming from America to Japan. She's done a number of vlogs on that as well. So she's a very interesting lady and quite witty and quite funny. But I think I take my hat off to her. Les, for the 800 baht bank account requirement, would you recommend a letter from your Thai bank to confirm that you have the 800,000 baht in the bank for the necessary months? You do need, for your visa application, you do need a bank book showing the 800,000 baht, and you also need a letter from the bank to say it's genuine, that you have the 800,000 baht in the bank. I think that costs you 100 baht to get the letter from the bank to show that the 800,000 baht is in the bank. Because when I do my marriage visa every year, even though I've got my bank book and it shows all the transactions in my bank book, I still have to have a year's worth of paperwork to show that the income and the outcomes of my bank account. So there's full 12-month statements, but I also still need a letter from the bank to say that the statements have been issued from the Bangkok bank. So it's 200 baht for me year statement, and then another 100 baht for the bank to say, yes, we give him to guarantee the statement from the Bangkok bank. So yeah, the Thais like the paperwork. They like the paperwork, and it was another 100 baht for a letter to say, yes, we give him the bank statement. So yes. You have to get a bank statement to take the immigration to prove you have. Yeah, again, you need that statement. Thailand, it's just paperwork for absolutely everything. The paperwork to buy a car, sell a car, get a license. You need a residency certificate to buy a car, to sell a car, to buy a motorbike, to sell a motorbike. You need a residency certificate to get a license, a car license or a motorbike license. It's just another bureaucracy. And to get a driver's license, you also need a doctor's certificate, which costs you 200 baht. And you probably don't even see the doctor. You just go to a clinic, you say you need to go get a license, so therefore they will charge you 200 baht. And the doctor gives you a letter, but it's more than likely the secretary that will give you the letter to say, yes, he's still alive, that you've actually walked into the office and he's still alive, to go and get your driver's license. And again, that can take up to 2.5, 3 hours to go and get your driver's license. I just took a German guy who wasn't very good at speaking English, took him to the driver's license center, and he had to do all the tests. And I had to try and explain to him in English, and he can't speak English very good, how to do the tests. And I got told off by one of the people who were supervising the test, because there's one test, you have a piece of dowel and this one moves. And what you have to do, you have to line them up. If you've never ever done this test before, you just sat there, and she couldn't speak English. So I'm telling him that he has to line this so that they were both together. And I said, yeah, that's it there, because he's got the joystick and he has no idea what he's doing, what he has to do. And she told me off, she said, don't tell him what to do. And she snatched it off his hand, reset everything. And I said, before he got his hands back on the thing, I said, you have to match the dowels. And because I showed him, then he realized what he needed to do. So again, we had to go to 3 different sections of the driver's license place, because you've got to match the dowels up. You've got to do a color blindness test. And if you're colorblind in Thailand, you won't get a license, because you've got to know whether it's red, green or orange. And if they all look the same because you're colorblind, you will not get a license at all. And then you've got to do a peripheral test where you see the lights, and then So there's a lot of formalities to get your driver's license, and that's probably why there's lots of Thai people who don't have the driver's license, because it can take a full day, maybe sometimes 2 days, to actually get your license over here. So that's 1 or 2 days that they're not earning any money. So the bureaucracy over here, it is what it is, and you've got to smile and you've got to take it because it's Thailand. Right. In loud different places. I'm in Town is across the border. Also, there's a new train line that's traveling on their YouTube. Lots of vlogs. Yeah, Paddy Doyle. He did some great vlogs about Thailand, and he's done some really, really good vlogs also about Laos. Yeah, YouTube is an inspiration for no matter where you want to travel in Thailand or anywhere in the world. There's always people who've done vlogs on where you go. As I said, we went to the River Kwai a couple of weeks ago. I did a couple of videos on that, and for 5 days away, it cost us 8,000 baht, and we spent some nights in some really nice hotels. The last one was exceptionally beautiful. I mean, exceptionally beautiful for 1,500 baht a night. We're budget travelers. We don't pay expensive for anything, and but I wasn't disappointed at all in this place on the river bridge. Well, it's not the bridge up, because it's 105 kilometers away from the bridge over the River Kwai. But we went, and it was a beautiful, beautiful location. And we stayed on the river itself, and that was 1,700 baht a night with breakfast. And that was just stunningly beautiful. And you got a free long-tail boat ride in the morning, because that was part of the package, free long-tail boat ride, or on the river raft, which they did on the second night. And that was just a magical, magical, magical experience, being on a big raft, tables and chairs, just floating down the river. It's absolutely brilliant. Oh, Colin, the super chat. Oh, thanks very much. It works on my phone. Okay, thank you so much for that. That'll buy a few coffees, that's for sure. Thank you very much. Now, what I do with the people who generously give me the money for coffees and things like that, I actually use that money to help. You know, the solar that I've done, it's through people who actually give me coffees and things like that. I use that one. I don't waste it. I buy it and make other videos, like the solar power, the battery that costs us just over nearly 4,000 baht for the battery, and all my coffee donations just go towards that. So then I make another video with regard to cheap solar power for being able to, when we have brownouts here in Thailand, so we can still have electricity on. The water filtration system. I put this down here for a reason, and you've just clicked onto it now. My water filtration system. Now, this was the old, if you've seen my videos on how the Thai people put that onto the side of the house, it's crazy. Mazuma. Now, this cost 3,500 baht for the filtration system that was put on the side of the house, and they put the pipe. It was horrible. It looked bloody awful. And to recharge the filter was 1,600. Now we get the water direct from a lakes. Our house is called Lake Home, and we have lakes all around us. But the contamination and the small particles kept plugging that up. So that was 1,600 baht. So my coffee donations and that paid for the new filtration system. And I did a video on this, and a spindrift filter and a particle filter and a carbon filter, I think just over 1,000 baht. And it works absolutely wonderful. So thank you very much for the donation. And this is what I do. I put the donations towards something for the house, and then I can show a little bit of return by people who kindly buy me a coffee, and I'll make other videos with regard to that. And the filtration system was a well, it helps us out because it cleans the water in that as well. But thank you very much, Colin. Much appreciated. So that will be going towards maybe it's another solar panel. Because I've got two 80-watt solar panels at the minute. I haven't even touched on it because people ask me about the solar stuff. I haven't even touched onto that yet because answering the questions on the live chat has been great. So 1 hour 45 minutes. That's good going. Yeah, okay. The residence certificate will be 500 baht from Thai immigration. You will need this for so many different reasons. Each one is 500 baht a time. Now, technically, they're supposed to be free, but they're doing within 24 hours. If you go in and ask for a residence certificate and say, I'll pick it up tomorrow, technically, it should be free. But they say if you want it now, it'll cost you 500 baht. And that's how they get the money. And it used to be 300 baht, but now it's gone up to 500 baht. But yes, your residence certificate for buying a car, selling a car, buying a motorbike, selling a motorbike, getting your driver's license, your initial driver's license, and your renewable license. Your residence certificate is needed so many times. And it's just bureaucracy again. It's another bit of paperwork, but Thailand love their paperwork. So going on to the solar, because a couple of people have asked some questions with regard to the solar. I've got no idea how about we create a company that employs all foreigners, YouTubers in Thailand, that the company will provide work permits for everyone. Now, here's a thing coming on to that. I wanted to set up, because I was an electrician as well in the UK, I wanted to set up, when I first came to Thailand, a business that trained Thai people to do electric safely, because the electrics in Thailand, excuse the pun, is shockingly bad. And I wanted to set up a free training program, and it helps Thai people get a job as well. And it was on the same lines. There's a guy in Cambodia does this, and he's got his own little business in Cambodia, and he trains Cambodians to do electric safely. And now they do their work is they rewire poor people's houses for free. So they've got proper electricity system in the house, a safe electricity system, and this gives their students the practical experience that they require in a hands-on job. And this is what this English guy does to the Cambodians. And he's allowed to do it. He's allowed to set up this business, and this is what he does. And it's a sort of a charitable foundation, and it helps to improve prospects for Cambodians to get qualification for doing for doing Cambodian electrics. And the electrics in Cambodia is just as bad as what it is in Thailand. So I wanted to copy his formula over here in Thailand. No, cannot do that. No, work permit, you can't do this. You'd have to employ 4 Thai people, blah, blah, blah. And the bureaucracy of the whole system to try and do that was just preventative. So I scrapped that system and I never, ever took it up. But the amount of people, electrics over here is really, really bad. And I've helped out and I've given advice on many people with regard to electrics at their property, how bad it was. And I've even helped other people do a full rewire and just put their electrics safe. And that's what we're trying to do over here. You know, it's bad over here, you know, with safety wise for electrics. And people treat electricity over here with contempt. you know, the wires that are just taped together, just twisted together, you know, can cause many of a fire. But anyway, that's my little thing on electrics. But my solar power, I had two 80-watt solar panels, and they used to run an 80-watt car fan, and I use that to sucking all the hot air out of the house. And they work very, very well, but boy, were they noisy. So that was my little experiment to try and make an airflow around it. So I had one at one side of the house and the other side of the house. So one was blowing cooler air in from the shaded part of the house, and the other fan was sucking the warm air out of the bedroom. But the noise it used to make was very noisy. So my wife complained about it. So therefore I stopped that. So I had two 80-watt panels stuck in my cupboard for a couple of years or so. And then, as I say, people start making donations for the coffees and things like that. I was like, oh, okay, what can I do? With the 80-watt panel, I used to have a 340-watt panel before with the grid tie inverter. But the gardener pebble dashed the panel once he was cutting the grass with the stones and that. So that just smashed up the 340-watt solar panel by using a grid tie. And the grid tie inverter that I had at the time there had no guarantee. And there was a storm whilst we were away on holiday, and two of the thermistors inside had stopped working. So it wasn't worth trying to get fixed. And the guy broke the solar panel anyway, so I just threw it out. But now, I mean, this was maybe 4 or 5 years or so ago now. But now the grid tie inverter that I got, it's for a 180-watt panel, or a combination up to 180 watt, and that was 1,400 baht, and it's got a 2-year guarantee with it. So my 80-watt solar panel actually does turn the clock back on the meter. When there's no electricity being used in the house, even an 80-watt solar panel at midday will turn the clock backwards. And we only use 4,500 watts a day. So at 50 watts, average 50 watts. So it gives us 300 watts of solar energy. So that's almost 7 or 8% of what we actually use in a day anyway. And that just chugs into the house. So in effect, it's running the fridge for 4 or 5 hours a day for free. And hopefully the grid tie inverter will last for a number of years, even though it's guaranteed for 2 years. Do you think I'm going to get any warranty back if I actually apply for it? Probably not, but it's worthwhile doing. And then what I've actually done with the second 80-watt panel, and that's where I bought my battery, using that as a battery backup. So now I've wired a plug into the bedroom so I can put the fans, and I've wired a plug next to my TV, and I'll put another plug down by the internet so I can plug everything into the solar system. So if the electricity goes off, I just flick a switch and the inverter comes on, and I can run that amount of power for a TV, a fan, and the internet system for up to like 7 or 8 hours through one 100-amp battery. So again, I'm going to do another video on that as to actually how I've done it and why I've done it. But this is what I use the donations for, to be able to buy something so I can give back by showing other people, you know, videos of what you can do. Anyway, that's a long-winded explanation for any contributions, but thank you very much. When using the ATMs in Thailand, the best way to use the app, you know, Thai bank account, cardless withdrawals. I've got a couple of friends who just pay everything with a phone, bink, 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 bink. So they never ever use the card. I'm old-fashioned. I want to feel the pain. If I pay for something, I want to take it out of my wallet and pay for it, because then I know that's where the cash is gone. Whereas if you've got money in the bank account and bink, 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 you look at your statement and think, wow, you know, I've spent all of this. I don't think you can't beat taking your money out your wallet and you can feel the pain and it's gone. And we have like 15 to 20,000 baht a month that we live on. That's our expenditure for buying food. And I know when I'm down to my last couple of thousand baht at the end of the month, okay, and once this is gone, it's gone. So then I know to take things easy. But if you pay for cash, bing, 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 bing all the time, how do you keep a record of it? Yes, you can look on your statement with your app and find out where it's gone. But if you look inside your wallet and you see the cash in there or the cash is gone, then you know. But that's my preference. I know, you know, paying for everything by cash. We had a friend who came with us to the River Kwai and he tried to pay a bill by his phone. And he said, no, we don't accept that. And he didn't have any cash in his pocket. And he said, well, why don't you have this? And they said, because we don't. We don't accept payments by the phone or the app, things like that. We want cash. And he went off it because, you know, they wouldn't accept cash. They wouldn't accept his phone. So, you know, cash is king all the time. Cash is king all the time. Everybody accepts cash. Right. Message, Dave. It is absolutely shocking, pun intended, how many houses in Thailand are not grounded. Les, how difficult would it be to make these houses grounded? Yep, it's not difficult at all. Yeah, the earthing of yeah, it is bad, and it's not difficult to do. In fact, although I've got earthing on this house, there is no way you can see where it is grounded. So I put an earth rod in this house. I've still got to finish it off yet, but I did another video putting an earth rod in the house and then running the cable to the fuse board. But I've got the meters and I've got the plugs, and the grounding on this house is very good. But where it is, no idea. In England, when you do a grounding, you've got an earth rod. If it's there's earthing that comes with it with the installation, and if you live in a rural location, it's called a TT system, and then you need an earthing rod. And most places in Thailand, it was called TT systems, where you need an earth rod or earthing situation, but you need also to be able to check that the earth is still suitable and still works. But in Thailand, they don't do that at all. But as I say, with me living here, I do everything safely and everything is protected, and I wouldn't have it any other way. But I know there is many other people who just, you know, plug things in and like, oh, it didn't go bang, so everything's okay. It's not difficult to ground anyway. And I'll tell you a little story about grounding and what you get and what you don't get in Thailand. Now, there's this guy that I know, a brilliant guitarist. He plays the electric guitar, and he has it in his... hang on, something popped up. And he has it, and he said, Les, he said, I'm getting a little tingly feeling on my guitar. And he said, on my strings. And he said, must be a bad earth somewhere. He said, can you come and check the house? So I checked the house, and I had my instruments, and I said, no, everywhere's grounded. The sockets that you're using are all grounded. They're all earthed. I said, there must be a fault in your... No, the amplifier is a Marshall amplifier. He said, there won't be any problem with that. He said, there's got to be a bad earth. I said, well, I've checked everywhere, and everywhere's earth, everywhere's grounded. So I said, I don't know why you're getting an electric shock. I said, because the earthing system is very, very good. So anyway, did he believe me? No. So he put another earth rod in, run an earth wire, put it into the fuse board, played his guitar, still getting an electric shock. So he said, Les, can you come and check it for me? So I put another earth rod in. He said, but I'm still getting an electric shock. Okay. So I tested the extension cable that he did from the socket to his amplifier. That was earth. That was okay. Then I checked the cable that he had from the amplifier to the socket, and although it had 3 pins, so you would have assumed it, and it was only a meter long, and I checked that, and although it had 3 pins, there was no earth in it, and that was the reason why he was getting an electric shock, is because there was no earth, and he was getting a feedback, and that's what it was causes electric shocks, because the meter long cable that he had, although it had 3 pins, wasn't earthed. So he bought a new cable that was earthed, never had a problem again. So even the cables that you get, and I've seen that, and I've done a video on it about the electrics in Thailand, although it's got 3 pins, there's no earth on it. So you think there is an earth on it, but there isn't. So be careful with what you buy over here. Buy quality product from like a DIY store or a big chain or something like that. Don't buy it from the cheap Charlie shops and things like that, because it won't be earthed. Buy quality stuff and you'll get quality products. Matt Bonner, I beg to differ. Yes, you do get charged ATMs. You do different. Yeah, I get charged at the ATMs because I'm in a different province. I pay 30 baht to draw my money out of the Bangkok Bank ATMs here in Rayong, because my bank account was opened up in Pattaya. My wife would believe me when I say you only pay 700 baht a month for electricity. Mine is usually 4,000 baht. It was 679 baht this month. That's how much my electricity bill was. 679 baht. It is. We've lived here for 7 years. It's never, ever been over 900 baht in the 7 years we've lived here. and a lot of that is because we don't use the air conditioning. The only time we use the aircon is in the hottest of the hottest summer. And then we'll use it in our living room. My wife doesn't like the aircon in the bedroom, so thankfully, because she doesn't like aircon, we don't use it. We just have 2 fans, and that's all we use is the fans. We have a fan in the living room as well, where we have directed onto both of us, and we have 2 fans in the bedroom. And that is the reason why we don't have big electricity bills, because we don't use the air conditioning. Now, if you get used to the aircon, that does ratchet your bills up. But then you need insulation. And if you've got insulation throughout the house, that reduces your electricity bill as well. So I know a couple of guys that the electricity bill's been over 5,000 baht, and they've got solar power to offset that 5,000 baht a month. But the payback time is between 5 and 7 years to get your money back on a solar system to reduce. I would say insulate your house more. That's going to be cheaper than getting solar power. And that will actually reduce your energy costs as well, because your walls are insulated and your roof's insulated. My electricity is over 4,000 baht as well, and we hardly ever use the air conditioning. That could be a fault. You could have something actually draining to earth, which is causing a fault location, which is actually using your. Now the way to check that, it sounds a pretty primitive way of doing it, to check to see if anything's actually going down to earth. And if it's going down to earth, if there's a fault in your cables, that can actually still run your electric meter. So what I would do is switch absolutely everything off in the house, unplug everything, and go and have a look at the meter. And if the meter's still going round, you've got a fault going down to earth. So therefore, it's still using the electricity, and that could be a cable link. If you've got a fault situation can, without tripping your fuses, can actually cause your meter to run and using electricity. Because there's another guy also with the fridge freezer who was getting electric shock tingles, and he had a fault going down to earth, and that's why you got a tingling. So what he did was, well, he asked me to do it, and I did it, and I said, you've got a problem with the fridge freezer. You need to, there's a fault inside it somewhere, which is going down to, which gives you tingling. So I put an earth rod in, and then his tingling sensation went, because any problem, it just went down to earth. And that solved it for a short while, but he was still every now and then getting a tingle. And I said to him, I said, because that is actually using the electricity and it's going down to earth, that's what's causing your meter to carry on going on, because it's still finding a path going down to earth. So you're still forming a circuit. So that's one way of doing it, is switching everything off, unplugging everything, and seeing if your meter's still going round. It will go around so slowly, but it will still cause you to use electricity. So that's one thing to check it as well. And if you're getting any shocks off any appliances, things like that, you've got a problem going down to earth as well. So that's how I would look upon it. But if you're hardly using your electricity, it's either badly insulated your house, or you've got another electrical problem, which is or somebody else has tapped into your electricity, which I've seen in one house that I did a little bit of electrical work for, because I had to disconnect the electricity at the meter, which is on the pole. And because I disconnected the meter, one of the neighbours came out and asked why their electricity had gone off. And because I don't speak Thai, I got the person who I was helping out, partner, to ask him what the problem was. And then I reconnected the cables, and funny enough, their electricity came back on as well. So they were actually using the electricity of the house that I was actually fixing. They'd made a connection somewhere, and they were using their electricity as well for two houses. So that's why her electricity bills were quite expensive. Anyway, so if you're not using your air conditioning, have a further look at where your electricity is going to, because it might be going to somebody else, somebody's next door neighbour, or running somebody's pump or pool pump or something like that. Right. Before I put solar in, it was 12. Oh, David. Hello there, David. Now, there's a man who has a lot of air conditioning. He has air conditioning, I think, Dave, 24 hours a day you run it, something like that. So the solar is actually reduced your electricity bill quite considerably. So there's a man to ask. Got to love Thailand. He'll tell you all about the solar with regard to how much money you're saving on electricity. So welcome, David. Nice to see you. Only use air conditioning for 3 or 4 hours a night. Mother-in-law has the TV on all day and have a couple of fans running. Yeah, if we put the air conditioning on in our living room, it's exceptionally warm, and we're okay with the wind. If you cause drafts through your house through the day, I mean, I'm experimenting on other things as well, putting ceiling fans in, not having a whole house ventilation system, but the ceiling, that's where the heat stays. So if you draw that heat out, it reduces the radiant heat coming into the room in the first place. But I'm just playing around that. I've got me little temperature gauges, so I go look all over the house type of thing and sample things and close the bedroom. And we put the insulation above our bedroom. Although we have the foil on the tiles, which dramatically reduces the heat, there's still radiant heat in the loft. So by putting insulation above our bedroom, it reduces it by one degree. So it's not an awful lot that it reduces, but even 1 degree is better than nothing at all compared to the measurement of the bedroom without the insulation. So insulation is the key. Insulation, insulation, insulation. But yeah, you know, we have the doors open and the windows open, so we cause the draft. So, you know, there's other things that we're going to do as well. We're going to buy a door. We have 2 doors, front door and the side door. We're going to buy a door which is like a security door. So it's 2 things, but it's also got a mesh on it for bugs. But we're going to be able to open our back door and have this bug screen and with a metal security door. So we cause a big draft, and the side door is in the shade all the time. So the air's always cooler there. So by opening that door all the time and having the bug screen door on there, so the bugs and the creepy crawlies and the snakes don't get in because the door's shut, but it's got a mosquito screen, which is a wire mesh screen, so it's strong. We can cause a draft throughout the house. So ventilation is the key to also to get rid of that hot air. And majority of our houses, there's only one wall of our house that's actually open to the sun all day, and it's only that one wall that opens, that heats up. The rest of the house is in shade, so have extended roof to shade the walls, which stops the radiant heat from coming through. But I've done a couple of videos with regard to trying to keep your house cool anyway. So insulation is probably the best way to do it. Even double glazed windows over here is a rarity, but double glazed also help. But also you can get the film on your windows, which reflects the sun, which stops the heat from coming into your house as well. Yeah, my electricity bill is £1,000 a month for my 1-bedroom condo. I use air conditioning during the day and not at night. Yeah, again, say we live in a 2-bedroom house, and our bill is never over £1,000. Great when you plug into something in the car. Yeah, there's always a spark when you plug anything into a socket over here. My electric in the 1-room condo was 1k. Since my girlfriend moved in, it went up to 1.4k. She uses it a lot. Yeah, the Thais like the air conditioning, especially if they're not paying for it. Oh, David, it's 300,000 on the 12.5 kilowatt with two 48-volt 2-amp-hour batteries. Wow, that's a lot of money, Dave. 300,000, yeah. But what do you think the payback time is going to be for that, Dave, over that amount of period of time? And but you were a big consumer of electricity with the air cons and that, so for you, I think it was worth every penny spending it, because the payback time should be a lot easier, a lot quicker, because of your electricity bill. That's a lot of money. So, food and costs around 7k baht per month per person. I don't know, Rick. I don't know. We sort of both eat the same food. She doesn't eat any foreign food. When I'm on my keto diet, every now and then, I'm going to go back onto that, because I put I put a few pounds back on again. So every now, I've always yo-yoed as far as my weight's concerned. So every now and then I go on the keto. And my wife doesn't eat the keto stuff because it's cheese and it's steaks and it's fatty stuff. So her food is actually cheaper than my food, but I love Thai food anyway. So I can't say 7,000 each. It's a combination of, it is what it is, wherever she eats, wherever I eat. I've got a sweet tooth, so I like my yogurts and me cakes and things like that. And she doesn't eat yogurts and she doesn't eat cakes. And my wife never drinks alcohol, so I have the occasional chang or sang sum sung sam or whatever, hong thong or whatever. So if you add all that lot up, it is what it is. 15 to 20,000 baht a month we spend on food and entertainment and alcohol and stuff like that. So we live on now. It used to be 50 to 55,000, but now because we're buying this house, we go to about 60,000 baht a month. That's how much we definitely don't spend any more than 60,000 baht a month. Just waiting while this guy goes by in his truck. I don't know what he's trying to sell. He's trying to sell DIY tools, brushes, paint brushes, pots and pans and stuff like that. That's it, it's gone now. So, right, where else are we now? Oh, yeah, Dave likes his koi carps and his fish. I love Dave's little man cave. If I could afford one of them, I'd definitely buy one of them, because it's your driving games and your big TV and you, where you sit on the top, Dave. I love all of that lot, and I've even measured up a place in my garden to put one of them one day, and I just love it, because yeah, it's just a man cave. It's a brilliant thing. But Dave's done many videos on his fish building, his fish pond, his house build, and he's done many videos, and it's well worth a watch. And he does a lot more live streams than me. I think every couple of days or something like that. I did come on your live stream the other day, Dave, but you're on about the Speaker of the House, has been sacked or whatever, and that's way above my intelligence as far as the Americanism for the Speaker of the House and that. So I dipped out on that one. But Dave has some many conversations, and he's worthwhile looking at. So have a look at his channel. Got to Love Thailand. Brilliant. And he's also bought a caravan and things like that, and he's got motorbikes and his trucks. So he's got his fingers in many pies, and he's interested in the stuff. I love his caravan that he bought. That's brilliant. I'm spending 5,000 baht a month average, 3 aircon and a pool, oven, cooktop and shower, everything electric, 120 square metre, 2-bedroom in Lee Pim. Lee Pim is not too far away from me. But yeah, 5,000 baht. But even 5,000 baht a month, my sister pays that in England per week. She pays between 80 and 100 pounds a week on gas and electricity. So even 5,000 baht a month in reality isn't really that expensive. £25 a week, it's nothing, is it, in comparison to what you pay in the Western countries. That bloke on the megaphone was in Johnson earlier. He gets about a bit. Did you get anything from him? We help the people who come around selling, especially if they're selling fruit or ice creams and things like that. And the guy in the ice cream, I don't know where but it's like a green bun, and he's got like 4 or 5 little balls of ice cream. It's 20 baht. It's beautiful. But, he always asks, he said, what ice cream? And I said, just give me everything. So there's coconut, strawberry, chocolate, vanilla, like a green tea one. So like 5 little bowls of ice cream in a bun, in a bread bun for 20 baht. It's lovely. And my wife, on the weekend, she sells sausages on the beach. Not because she has to, or she does it because she wants to, because she gets to talk to other Thai people. Now we're together 24 hours. We're together 24 hours a day. So she loves it. When she goes on the weekend, she talks to other Thai people, holiday people come there, and she sells the sausages, and she makes maybe it's 400 or 500 baht a day by doing that. But she likes to get outside of the house, and she likes to mix with the Thai people. Because I'm English, you talk our crap, and the Americans, we talk our language, if you like, and the Thais like to talk their language. So she does that on the weekend. I do my YouTube and do me bits and pieces on the weekend. And it gives us that break together as well, because living 24 hours a day with each other, it's nice to be able to speak your own language. Whereas because she lives with me, it's English all the time. So, yes, have your time apart, have your time together, have your own leisure facility, and, time apart from each other. Highlights, which school did you go to in Redcar? West Redcar School that I went to. And I moved to West Redcar School because before that we used to live in South Bank. And it was Sarah Metcalf School that I went to in Teesville, I think it is. Teesville. And then we moved to Redcar when I was 11. Then I went to West Redcar School. And I actually love school. I like school. And I liked my last year at school because I knew I'd never, ever have to go back to school again. I've never been a clever person. I'm Mr. Average at everything that I do. But I'm sort of a monkey see, monkey do. And I've learned many, many things over my lifetime. I've got a passion for building and tinkering around and DIY. I built my own houses. On the first scheme, 25, and on the second scheme, 35 houses. So I've done everything from doing the foundations to put the roofing tiles on. The electrics, I love the electrics. And I went back to college at 42 to learn how to be an electrician. And I did me 3 years, got my city and guilds, started my own business at 42 as an electrician, never ever looked back. By getting the skill, that entitled me to work all over the world. And as an electrician, I did many, many jobs in Spain, Italy, and France. And that's how I traveled around as well. By doing the electrics, I got free accommodation and free food for 4 or 5 hours per day as an electrician. So for those people, it's never too late to learn the skill. I was 42 when I went back to college. David, does your solar system provide enough electricity for you to be self-sufficient away from the main grid? No, not at all. At the minute, I'm just playing around with the solar because electricity for me is too cheap in Thailand for me to buy a full system to live, so I don't have to pay any electricity bills. I'm playing around, and I've got two 80-watt panels. One's got a grid tie inverter, which feeds into my house, and the other one is a battery backup, and that's another 80-watt panel. But the systems that I'm putting in are upgradable. So I've got two 80-watt panels, and the grid tie inverter will take up to 180 watts. So my next purchase, I mean, some of the guys who bought me coffees and things like that, I'll put any donations towards buying stuff for like the water filter and stuff like that, where I can make a video from it. So my next purchase, it's 3,000 baht for a 300-watt solar panel. And the 300-watt solar panel will recharge my 100-amp battery within 5 hours. So I can use my 100-amp battery and recharge it within 5 or 6 hours with a 300-watt panel. So that's my next purchase. And then I'll link the two 80-watt panels together. So then that's putting in like 140 watts to my house on the grid tie inverter. So I'm just playing around, Dave. As I say, I'll never ever be in a position where I can afford the solar system that I never ever use the electricity, because I think that a 4.5 baht per unit, it's very, very cheap over here, and that's why solar hasn't taken off over here in Thailand, even though we get the brilliant sunshine for many, many parts of the year. Financially wise, it's not worth for a lot of Thai people to invest in solar. And I would say, to be fair, it's the majority of guys, foreign guys, who put solar on their houses, and it's not many Thai people who do it. Les, do you, your wife, use hot water when washing dishes in the kitchen? No, we never. We have tankless water heater, and I always wash the dishes with hot water in Banchang. No, we never use hot water for anything. The washing machine does it in cold, because the washing powder is designed for cold water. The water's never really freezing cold anyway, because we have the tank, which is 2,000 liters of water, and the sun shines on it, so it's always got a bit of a it's not cold. But no, the only hot water we use is when we have a shower, but that's only in the winter months, because we always have cool showers during the rest, and we have a shower before we go to bed, because that cools you down before you jump into bed. and then the fans help you keep cool. So no, we don't use hot water. My wife loves cooking, so has a restaurant where she sells noodles and cooks other meals. Yeah, my wife isn't the best cook in the world, but her food is still nice, and I tell her so. But it's nice when we go to a restaurant and somebody cooks it and it's like delicious. Not just nice, but delicious. But I won't tell my wife that. Otherwise, I'll get nothing. It's sometimes we know some Thai people, and the food they cook is just like, wow, that's so tasty and so delicious, unbelievable. Unfortunately, my wife isn't one of them cooks, and her food is just average, but it's eatable and it's nice. Is why we go to some restaurants. Maybe she does that. She's not a good cook, so we do go out to eat at restaurants and things like that. Might be a clever little ploy for ploy. Does your solar system find no, thank you. I'm not grid tied. No, but you'll have the batteries. It's like you've got the big amp batteries and that. There's the other guy living in Thailand, life in Thailand, I think it is, Ben. He's just done a massive house in the middle of nowhere, and all of his house is solar powered. And he's getting that hooked up sometime this week or so. But he's a very, very interesting guy to watch. And he's another English guy. I think he's 41 or 44. And he's made the move over to Thailand. And he's got a big house that he's built for 3 million in the middle of nowhere. And there's no electricity, so everything is off solar. And he's an interesting guy to watch. Yeah, so I can run my koi. So yes, about 6 hours when the power goes out with the pond and the fridge and the AC, only one AC. Yeah, it's good just for, that's all I've got for is just a backup power, because it's only happened a couple of times where the power's gone off and it's so hot. Is my wife back now? What time are we at? 5:24. She's finished selling sausages for the day, so she's home now. Oh, there's still a few sausages left, so it looks like we're going to have sausages for tea. Yeah, I only. It's happened twice where it's been really, really hot and all the power's gone off, and my wife's had washed herself down with the cold water from the main supply, just to cool down. So it's not very expensive to do, and it's a way as a backup just in case. Big storms. Have a great day, Les. Off to unplug my unsafe. Yeah, big storms, the electricity, we always unplug all the sockets as well, stuff in. So that's a wise thing to do, because if lightning strikes, it blows everything up, and it does over here. And lightning struck the electricity pole opposite my wife's house in Karat, and it just blew all the lights, and it blew the fridge. And I was actually 10 meters away from the pole that the lightning struck at, because I love to watch a good thunderstorm, and the lightning hit the cable, and the cable glowed white hot, and everything just went bang, and it blew the meter off the power pole. So the power of nature is fantastic. But yeah, electricity, we still unplug all the sockets. You sound anything but average. Your story is inspirational. Thanks very much for that. As I say, I live outside of the box, and I always have done. And anybody can do anything. We were poor. We were poor when I was a child, and both my parents worked, but they taught me a big lesson in life is morals, scruples, and principles, and be nice to people, and be polite, and be courteous. And that's what I did. And my mum and dad had really good work ethics, and they were never lazy. Although we never had much money, them moral scruples and principles have served me well throughout the whole of my life, and I still live by them now. I would never cheat anybody, never rip anybody off. I'm as honest as the day is long, and I tell it how it is. And if you're going to do a deed, do a good deed, and never do a bad deed. Even to my ex-wives, things like that, I never wish anybody any harm. Just happiness. And and I've said to my ex-wives, if I didn't make you happy, go and find somebody that makes you happy. Live a good life. And that's what I try to do every day: live a good life and a happy life, and be nice to people. That's all I can say. But I'm just the average guy, an average guy, nothing clever about me. I'm just a normal person. Yeah, very sad about the wife of the young Australian lad in Nissan. Yeah, very, very sad to see. He's going to have his work cut out of him for sure to carry on living here, because there's so many things against him. Was thinking about getting a solar hybrid system, but would take at least 10 years to recoup the cost. Surprised they don't do some sort of interest-free payment schemes to offset the cost. Yeah, I know. I was looking. It's actually the most expensive part of the solar system is the inverter. The solar panels can last up to 25 years, so they're not too expensive. The battery is also expensive. Them are the two expensive parts. But the battery should last you for up to 5 or 6 years. Battery technology is going to come on leaps and bounds over the next 5 years. So no need to buy the most expensive batteries, because I think in time the battery prices will come down. Where the whole system falls down is the cheap Chinese inverters, or the hybrid inverters and things like that. You can get a hybrid inverter over here, 2 kilowatt one, for 5,000 to 6,000 baht with the 2-year guarantee. But whether the 2-year guarantee is actually worth it or not, I don't know. But they're 5,000 or 6,000 baht, which I don't think is very, very expensive. But I would gladly pay twice as much for that, for a 10-year warranty on a product. Buy a quality product. The inverter that I bought and that for the battery backup system is a cheap Chinese product. Do I expect it to last? It's guaranteed for 3 months. That's the quality of the workmanship. They'll give a guarantee for 3 months, and then if it works after 3 months, I'm lucky. But in reality, we don't use that every day, because we know it's just there for a backup power. But again, I'm just playing around with it at present. And one day I will buy a quality inverter to be able to do the job that I'm actually playing around at. So if anybody's got any recommendations of quality products to buy, then I'm all ears. Mr. Power is probably one of the biggest ones on Lazada, who seem to be a reputable company, where the other ones are cheap Chinese knockoffs, and the guaranteed as long as they're guaranteed for. But trying to claim on that is just virtually impossible. Right, dengue fever. I had it 30 years ago when in Copenhagen. It was like being hit by a bus. Dengue fever. It is what it is. You can feel unwell, but dengue fever, especially now because of the rainy season, water and that, still water, and it's just one of them risks that you've got to put up with over here. Mosquitoes thankfully don't seem to bother me. I jokingly, because all the mosquitoes here are health freaks, and to get to my blood they have to get through the fat first place. So they don't like fat, but they like the blood, and because I'm a little bit on the larger side, they have to get through the fat before they get to the blood. So I like to think the mosquitoes over here are healthy mosquitoes, and that they go and find and bite somebody else that's more leaner than me. Have a great night, Les. Yes, Les is a straight up man, and I had the pleasure of meeting him. And have a good night, all. Thanks very much, David. You also are a nice guy and a gentleman, and he's very helpful. So if anybody's got any questions, ask David. And every couple of days he does his live stream, and he's well worth listening to. Good night, David. Thanks very much for the joining. Thanks very much for taking part. Tesla do solar systems, but can't imagine it being cheap. Huawei seems to be the one here. Yeah, it's like everything. If you buy brand names, it's going to cost an awful lot. I'm a big believer in buying quality and don't buy cheap stuff, because I bought cheap and it invariably breaks down and you get disappointed with it. But I'm still playing, and I'm building the system up, and I'm using it. Okay, I bought the cheap system with the inverter, the controller. I'm going to do another video on it in a week or 2 weeks when I get it totally finished off, and I'll show you exactly what I've done. But it's not a cheap, it's not an expensive system to actually. How much would you pay if your electricity went off for 4 or 5 hours and it was boiling hot, and there's no TV to watch and no air conditioning and no fans, nothing? At that particular time, you'd gladly give 2,000 or 3,000 baht just to keep cool. So I think the whole system that I'm putting in the house is less than 7,000 or 8,000 baht. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Say 9,000 baht. 9,000 baht, and that will give me electricity to run a TV, a couple of fans, and a couple of bulbs, something like that. That's the way I'm going to do it. So that hopefully that's the way I'm going to go, and I'll gladly show everybody how we've done it. So there's no need to go for the full system, to save you some money when you can do it for much cheaper. Okay, I'm going to give you some facts and figures as we're talking about why did I buy a 100 amp battery. Now, to recharge a 100 amp battery in 1 day, 5 hours, you need a 300 watt panel. Now, the 300 watt panel is 3,000 baht. Now, a 100 amp battery, because it's the gel battery that I've got, you're only supposed to discharge at a maximum of 80%, but to keep the battery ticking over, it's no more than 50%. Now, 50%, it'll take you 12 hours. It'll take you 12 hours to charge it up with a 200 watt panel, whereas a 300 watt panel will do it in 5 or 6 hours. So not as if we're going to be using it every single day, but if the battery's 4,000 baht and the 300 watt panel is 3,000 baht, and the inverter and all the bits and pieces you can get for 2,500, 3,000 baht, that is like a 10,000 baht system. But the system that I got with the controller and the cheap inverter cost me 1,700, and the biggest part of my system was the 4,000 baht battery, because I already had the 80 watt panel. Now the panel, 80 watt panel, it'll take 3 days to fully charge the battery. 3 days, a day being 6 hours, so 18 hours to charge the battery back up to full power. But do I intend to use the power every single day? No, not at all. So by doing what I'm doing, the 80 watt panel, which I already have, which is just over 1,000 or less than 1,200 baht, does the work that I need it to do, because I don't want to use the battery backup every single day. Now, as I said, to run my 80 watt TV, because I did how many watts my TV uses is 80 watts. So round that up to 100 watts. And that will run me 12 and my 100 amp battery for 50% charge. So 100 watt TV, 8 hours for the internet. That will run for 5.7 hours. And we have 2 fans. So in the bedroom time, so if the electricity went off during the night, our fans are 45 watt on the power 3 setting. So if you do it on 2 settings, so just say that's 35 watts. So that's 70 watts of power it's going to use per hour. So that gives you like 8 hours of running the 2 fans all night. So is the power off for 8 hours? Very, very rare that it's over 3 or 4 hours. So by doing that, you don't need a big system to have emergency backup. Swings and roundabouts at the end of the day. True, definitely learned the lesson not to buy cheap here. I'm researching what dirt bike to purchase. If I put running lights, mirror horn, etc. in Thailand, allow me to license it. I don't know. With regard to that, but you can actually buy street legal dirt bikes from the shop, which are already done, and how much they are, I don't really know. But you see some of the stuff that's running around here that would never pass a test and vehicle inspection tests, but people still run around in them all the time. So, but trying to get it licensed and through, because you'd have to get it registered with a frame number, and that's a big thing as well, just getting it even registered. But if you're going to use it off-road and things like that, just put it on the truck and take it to wherever you need, and then use it off-road and put it in the truck and bring it back again. But I've never really been a dirt bike rider and stuff like that. It's just, I've got a normal scooter, and that cost me 600 baht a year to insure and test and inspect. And I've had that now for almost 9 years. And it still goes as good as now as it did when I first bought it 9 years ago. And we've just got over 12,000 kilometers on it. So we don't use it a lot, but it's brilliant for just pottering around, and it's much cheaper than a car. And like my wife with a motorbike and sidecar, the other day I did the video with getting the concrete posts when I did the water filtration system, and the 4-meter long pipes for doing the electrics. Motorbike sidecars, the Samuel they're called. It's great for putting all sorts of things on. And I was those people that really can't afford a car and they want something a bit more than a motorbike, get a motorbike and sidecar. You can get one of them for second hand for about 30,000-40,000 baht, and they're just brilliant. You can fit up to 4 or 5 people on a motorbike and sidecar. They are probably one of the most technically, they're actually illegal, a motorbike and sidecar in Thailand, but motorbike and sidecar are just everywhere. They're fantastic. Take my hat off to whoever invented it, because they're really brilliant, really, really good. Right, so hang on, let's see what else we've got on here. We've done the water filters, we've done the solar, we've done the insurance. Anybody else who wants to have a look at with regard to insurance, for medical insurance, I've done a couple of suggestions on how you can self-insure and how much it'll cost you. So I think that's about it really today. Unless anybody's got any other questions. If anybody's got any other questions, ask now, and I'll gladly answer them. As I say, we're 2 hours and 43 minutes. I'm considering modifying the dirt bike to road use. It's called a super mortard. I wouldn't know. I've got to say, mechanically wise, although I'm good at many things like building and DIY and electrics and stuff like that, cars and engines are a mystery to me. The only mechanical thing that I did in my younger days. I changed, when I had a Mini, I changed one engine from one Mini to the other, and my dad was very surprised that it actually worked. And that's the only mechanical sound that I've ever done with regard to mechanics. It's a mystery to me. I'd never even opened the bonnet. The only time the bonnet gets opened is when we go and get it serviced at the garage, and that's the only thing that I do. I got find the answer. Don't know. Lost on that one. So if nobody's got any questions, anything particular? Oh, Mark, right at the end. Thank you very much for the super chat donation. Much appreciated. So that's the 2 super chats. That'll go towards my solar panel, and so that we'll make another video with regard to that. So much appreciated for the buy a few coffees and things like that. So much appreciated, Mark. Thank you very much for your donation. So as I say, with regard to living here in Thailand, it is easily affordable. I would suggest anybody. Oh, that was one question. Somebody asked me to mention on what was my views on the conference from the Conservative Party with regard to HS2 and things like that. Now, this is sort of political, and I watch the UK from afar, but I have got my own opinions and my own views on that. And I've got to say, I just think at the minute, anybody that's in government have got the snouts in the trough, and they are raking it in as much as they can, whilst they can, for as long as they can. And I think the HS2 was a big white elephant in the first place. And the Richie Sunak who came, he said the £30 million or £30 billion that we've got are going to go on other projects throughout England, so anybody benefits. Now, if I look at that instantly, how many of the consultants are going to get paid for putting up all of these other projects that are going to happen around the country? So 30 billion that is available, I think it'll disappear, and there'll be maybe 20 billion. So 10 billion will be wasted on consultancy fees. You know, the powers that be, you know, I know somebody that knows somebody who knows somebody, and the backhanders that will be doled out because there's all of this free money. It's going to be free money. It's going to be spent in the areas that are not going to get improved with the HS2. And I think that is going to run and run and run, and more people are going to get lots of money for doing nothing, as that what's happened in the past year or 2 years with the Conservative government. It's a free money tree if you know the right person. And that's my view on the HS2 and the way that the government is going at the minute. For me personally, I've got no problems with the immigrants coming to England. If we're stupid enough to give them a free ride, let them take advantage of it. I'm living in Thailand legally because I'll get a better life here, and I don't blame anybody for seeking a better life. But when people are put up and the government are paying a shitload of money for all of these people, and they give nothing back to society, then we're a foolish country to allow that in the first place. But that's politics. I believe that anybody should allow, seek a better life, and if they can, take advantage of a better life. But I think that the people, what's going on at the minute, is just take and give nothing back. But that's my little spat on in the UK. I live a wonderful life here in Thailand. and I love every minute of being living here. And if I can help other people achieve that, that's my aim in life, to be able to help people to live over here in Thailand, to be able to negotiate the hurdles and live a good quality lifestyle over here. Les, do you ever think about the 1,000 ways to die in Thailand compared to the UK? I mention that because it seems so much easier to kick the bucket here due to infrastructure and lack of policing. 100 ways to die. I think there are many more ways to die in the UK than there are over here in Thailand. The crime in UK, the knife crime in the UK has gone tremendously bad. Policing in the UK is a joke. Shoplifting in the UK is a joke. Benefits in the UK is a joke. So I think you're more likely to suffer. I don't walk around with fear here in Thailand. I can personally walk around anywhere in Thailand, never fear of being attacked, mugged, robbed, or cheated. In England, in Redcar, where I used to live, there's parts of Redcar I wouldn't walk around after midnight for fear of being robbed, mugged, or stolen, things being stolen. So I personally feel much safer living in Thailand than I ever did living in England. I was robbed in England. My van was broken into twice. I was taking my tools out from a job that I was working at, and I put them on the doorstep for my friend to pick them up and put them in the car. Somebody leapt over the fence and was about to steal my DeWalt drills, and my friend David was there at the time, and he left the drills and he just ran off. That was just one incident. In another incident, I was working in a house and 8 girls come into the property, and they were between 11 and 15-year-old, and one of the girls just said, "Grab whatever you can, girls, and just run out." So this house wasn't in a very good area, so there was a panic button in the house. So my friend just shut the door, and we hit the panic button, and the security guards came within 10 minutes. But the abuse I got off the girls that were trying to steal the stuff from me was horrendous. But I was talking to the police at the same time as well, so nothing could have been said. But the young people for crime and criminality acts in England is unbelievable. I've seen it, been there, done it, got robbed, learnt the lesson, and I never ever feel. Sometimes we leave the car unlocked by accident over here, and it's still there. I've seen people park their motorbikes and scooters outside of shopping centres, and it's still there with the keys still in the ignition. So it is much safer for everything over here in Thailand in comparison to the UK. And that's my run on why I like living in Thailand. And as you can see, my voice is about to go, so I'm gonna wind this session up. Thank everybody who joined in the conversation. Look forward to chatting again. We'll do another live stream in another couple of weeks or something like that. Thanks very much for all the participants. Thank you very much for the super chats. Very, very much and very, very well appreciated. And you'll see something come back from them because I'll do other things with videos and things like that. So thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for watching. Here we are. What time is it now? 10 to 6. So the mosquitoes will be about anyway because we're getting towards that time now. So thanks very much for joining in. Until the next time, bye for now.